Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. However you happen to be watching and or listening to this, I want to welcome you to another episode, hopefully a more concise episode of the Gaming Circle podcast. I am your host, Mr. K. Asante, TKO Asante on the Xbox, the PlayStations, the X.coms, and all those other ridiculous places we find ourselves communicating. And of course, I am joined this week, as with all weeks, by my brother from another mother. The man who is standing on his square until he gets, until the blue rat gets punched out in the face, Mr. Everborn Saga. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
I'm all right. How's everybody doing this fine Saturday morning, this amazing gaming week where you got Sonic, Mario, and Spider-Man all dropping in the same week? And
Indeed.
That's the week right after Forza, and that's the month right after Starfield. And that's the same month with the Meta Quest 3 came out. This is my wallet crying in real time.
Oh, brother, let's not even talk about the wallet crying. I got to keep some of these finances away from wifey, but let's move forward.
Oh yeah, no. I've shifted to buying these things on credit cards so they don't show up on the bank statement.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
And then I just pay back the credit cards like
on the sneak tip, you know what it is.
Baby, don't worry about it.
That's right. Don't worry about that. That was no big deal. That was no big deal. And that voice you hear, ladies and gentlemen, is the second chair, the one that will round out this Sega sandwich I find myself in here right now.
Hey yo.
Pause.
What are we doing?
Are you saying that are you the lettuce, K. Asante? Is that what you're saying?
My other co-host, who calls himself Lettuce, but we all know him as El Caliente himself, Mr. John Wolf. What's going on, sir?
Well, good morning, everyone in the chat. Like Everborn said, what a week, man. What a week. 2023 is definitely, I'm sorry, to me, the best year in gaming, period. Okay,
it's been with your mama. That's it.
It's been one hit after another. It's been gamers Christmas almost every single week. It's nuts, man. And this week, as you see there, Sonic Everborn comfortably has a lead as he came out a few days ahead of Mario. So I'm very confident right now that we got this, Everborn. Okay. He had a few days there, and the game is excellent, and we'll get into it in a little bit.
Because me and you got some beef, but I'm going to let you explain
that later. Okay.
I want you to frame it in your own words so I can take it apart responsibly.
Here we go.
Now, I will say, I like some sauce on my sandwich, Kay.
Okay. Let's go.
And we're going to hold this thought for a little bit, but just remember, I'm a man that puts sauce on his sandwich.
Oh boy, there's some ominous connotations going on right now this morning.
Yeah. Watch this intro, and I put some Latino heat on it. Okay, so that's what we do.
Okay,
that's what we do around here. Okay.
All right. Oh yeah, this is how you're playing it, right? This is how you're playing. Okay. We're getting into it. So
Genesis controller.
If you haven't beat Sonic Superstars or played it with this, you can't talk to me. Okay.
Wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Hold on. See, this is not a cam.
And Mario right here. Look,
I'm gonna turn on the cam for a second.
There you go. Look, see, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing.
I got something for you. I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm playing Sonic and Mario with. You guys continue. I'm gonna get my camera situation sorted out. But I got
you get your camera situated.
Oh, we got Paris.
And while you get your camera situated, ladies and gentlemen, Paris, of course, will not be denied in the chat. Thank you for being here. He says Sonic. Oh man. Sonic is the Ponderosa.
Come on, man.
Games. Decent, but never your number one option.
He's trying. Paris is trying to rile up the crowd already. Okay, come on. Come on.
That is great.
He's trying to rile up the crowd.
That is just great. That is just absolutely great. The Ponderosa. See, and if you're old enough to remember Ponderosa, yeah, I see you, sir. I see you. Anyway, while we're at it, let me welcome all the great folks that are already in the chat. We see, a lot of the great same faces that are already in here. And of course, not to be denied himself, first in the seat, early this morning, Mr. Gerald Mack with a $20 super chat. Salute to you, Gerald.
J Mack.
He brings up a very interesting talking point that we might discuss on this show down the line. Give us some time to get going, but He says, shout out to the Gaming Circle podcast, Kay Asante and Everborn Saga. It's really sad that the norm has become PlayStation is impervious to criticism and ridicule. I wonder who will be held accountable for that. Ooh, really insightful comment this morning on a nice Saturday morning. Let's put a pin in that one. I think we're going to come back to it. Oh, and Mr. Everborn Saga leaves us. And as such,
he dropped out.
Yeah, he probably has to get his cam right. See, this is why you come in before the show starts, ladies and gentlemen, not when it's live. Little slander there from Mr. Everborn, no longer on the stage. Coming in hot. Oh, but he has returned. He has returned. So you know what? We'll give him his proper due. All right. Here we go.
He wanted some of that Sonic magic.
There you go. Right. And he has returned.
Back.
Yes, he's back. He's back with us. Okay. So thank you so much.
Just fixing my cam situation. And because I turned it on after the show started.
Of course.
It did all that.
Yeah. You do the loud part, vice versa. The quiet part out loud, all that. Yes. But your cam needs to, yes. Okay. And you know what? Because today cannot be a day without slander. Okay.
Wait a minute. Since we are can I see what we're doing here?
I see you're trying to get your stuff situated. And while you do, let me tell you that today cannot be a day without slander. And last week we had to be PG-13, well, non-PG-13 because it was a celebration, bitches. It was, right? We had to do it, right?
20 months.
I promised myself that this week we'd go back to our PG-13-ness, and then this happened, and I was like, oh, well, whatever, man. I guess we're gonna let this thing ride. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sauce on Daily himself. What's going on, sir?
Sauce Master.
What's up, boys? Demonetize this mother.
So needless to say, this show is gonna be rated R, ladies and gentlemen. We just get it out of the way right now.
I'll be on good behavior.
It's fine.
Okay. All right.
Oh, he's back. He's back. Look,
gotcha.
He's working on his situation in real time.
This is what we're playing, Sonic.
It's only been 10 seconds in your propaganda, Sonic.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. This is what we're doing today. I'm not done yet, by the way.
Everborn. What's happening, bro? You're gonna lose every bet under the sun, bro.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that, guys.
Listen. In the Battle of the Bastards, John Wolfe stood in front of Ramsay Bolton's army by himself.
That's right.
And everybody thought he was cooked. And what happened there?
You know what?
On this show, you made a bet. I want to know if John Wolfe is going to take those.
Well, hold on. Guys. Let's now put the cart before the horse. First and foremost, let me ask you a quick question. Quick question, sir. Quick question. Have you played, because it's about 3 games today. Have you played Mario Wonder? Have you played Sonic Superstars?
Nope.
Or have you played Spider-Man?
No. I've actually played all 3 of them. I have not played either. I'm just downloading Mario so I can play a few hours before my show.
Because I want the audience to be with us here, because this is going to be a barometer of various degrees, okay? So I've played all 3. Gaz has played none. And I've played at least an hour and a half of all 3. Gaz has played none. I'm pretty sure Mr. John Wolfe has only played Sonic and Mario, right?
Correct.
And Everborn Saga
for me.
And Everborn Saga has only played what do you call it? Sonic. So we're varying degrees of cold to hot right now on the games played today. But I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of discussion about the games that we're playing. But you know what? Let me make sure we get all the folks that are in here.
Before you start,
yes,
I need.
There he goes.
There
he has to come and represent.
There you go.
Okay, but I'm not done yet. Sometimes we want to play Mario on the TV.
Oh, God, this guy.
Sponsored by
this
Sega,
guy.
bro.
This guy.
This guy is sponsored by Sega.
You know? Okay. I see what he's doing.
This thing properly.
But you know what? Before we move forward, Mr. Joanna Dark, $10 super chat, also early. Thank you so much for being here, sir. He says the day is finally here. the knee capitation. Ever shoulda not had your knees saga. And John, the missionary game launcher Wolf's knees are ours.
I hate launchers.
I heard Vapor Rub runs with post knee
Wait a minute.
scope pain.
You guys thought I was done though.
Oh my God,
Oh,
this guy is
hold on.
still
Oh,
going.
he came ready for the battle.
Look at
That's
the
what I'm
drip.
talking about.
You'll be happy. I just bought
Everborn,
Sonic Superstars.
Everborn,
Let's go.
just now.
Everyone, look.
Guys, how many copies
Not to
you
be
good
outdone,
for?
bro.
One
Not to be
copy? We need
outdone.
we
Not to
need
be
a couple
outdone.
more copies.
Okay. Not to be
Well,
outdone. All right,
I'm just-
it's okay.
I game share with Colt, so he gets one. That's one less
Okay.
sold. But you would
Okay.
never play.
Oh,
it
come on,
anyway.
man. Come on, man. And I told Hargeet a while back, I need him to gift Sonic every single time he's on a podcast.
So
okay?
you know something, Mr. John Wolf, you have backed me into a beautiful segue, sir. Thank you
Let's
for
do it.
doing so. I
what we
appreciate
do.
you. We're going to continue with the super chats, but before we do, and I got you next. I got you
Before we
next,
do,
Itis.
I would just
Whoa,
like
whoa.
to
You don't know.
reenact
No.
how
Hold
this is gonna
on.
turn out.
You don't know this. Stop. As
The
Mr.
people
John
double.
Wolf,
winner.
The people double.
as Mr. John Wolf has said, those who don't know, on this show, we have had this debate, this battle. At first, it was myself and Mr. Everborn Saga, and we were going back and forth about who will take the first month in sales. Will it be Sonic? Will it be Mario? And then the third party, the third defender showed up. Will it be Spider-Man? I contend Elephant Mario is going to crush all contenders. All
Wow.
contenders. That is my contention. All of them. We shall see. But as Mr. John Wolf has aptly pointed out, let's keep it a buck. Sonic needs all the help he can get. So, ladies and gentlemen, for being here and for joining us on this momentous occasion, we will be giving away a copy of Sonic Superstars for Xbox Series X, ladies and gentlemen.
That's what I'm
Boom!
talking
Oh,
about.
nice.
That's what we will be
Help
doing.
with the sales.
He
Every
needs
little
all
help.
the help he can get, ladies and gentlemen. So
We'll
if you
take it,
are
baby.
here-
A win's a win.
Wait a
Winning's
minute.
winning.
Now, because I'm not going to be outdone, right?
Oh boy.
And I
Oh
don't want
boy.
I don't want this used against me, right?
Uh-oh. Here we
Yesterday,
go. Yes.
because my
of course.
brother, who is not into this fanatic
Yes,
video game industry stuff like we are,
Yes.
he's just a Spider-Man fan,
Yeah.
right? I got him a PS5
Uh-oh.
Spider-Man bundle yesterday.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Very
So-
cool, brother.
So
cool, brother.
in case anyone says you
PS5?
cooked the books, Asante, I've balanced it out.
He's
'cause I've
balancing
got
the
a
books.
copy of
There you
that.
go. There you go.
Now,
well,
one thing
the
I will
rules,
say,
though.
one thing
Go
I
ahead,
will
go ahead,
say,
finish.
one thing that we should
Mhm.
note, there is a bundle that went
Mhm.
live yesterday. So they didn't
Mhm.
even wait a few weeks for the bundle.
No,
Now,
They're
if you buy a
dropping it
PS5,
right there.
you have
Yep.
to get a copy of Spider-Man with it.
Indeed. Well, because they saw that's
Even
how
if
the
you-
books got
even
worked.
If you were
last time.
buying it for COD, you're getting
right.
Spider-Man.
That's right. Indeed. Indeed.
I'm just saying. So the books are already kind of
So- There will be rules to this game today, ladies and gentlemen. And the rules of this contest, well, not a contest, of this giveaway that I'll be handing out. The giveaway will be that I'll be dropping codes into the chat. And those who have paid attention and continue to pay attention during this show will get all the codes by the end of the show, and you will have yourself a copy of Sonic.
You also have to hit like. I'm putting that.
Please,
I'm
there
putting
you
that
go.
with your
Yeah,
code.
absolutely. Please.
Which, by
if
the
you
way, is
haven't
a
done so.
masterpiece, and it is not a 7 by any means. Okay.
So the
So
first
it's
one.
not a 70s
It's a-
meta game.
It's a 7 the
just
same way Starfield is a 7.
Exactly.
Oh, here we go.
Exactly.
Go
I've
ahead,
just clocked
Let him know.
Everborn.
Let him know.
Your character's hair
guys.
is literally modeled on Sonic's head. If I look
Is
at the tail end of it, at the front, the fringe, that is literally Sonic. I'm literally going to make a.
Well, no. So let me. No.
Yeah,
I want to
dissecting. What's
I want to
going
be
on
very
here?
clear here. When the main character of my whole Everborn universe was created, because it all started with that character Ariel,
Mm-hmm.
I went to the artist because I can't draw to save my life,
Mm-hmm.
and because this whole thing started as a 2D platformer that was a love letter to Sonic and Mario. So I wanted something that was cute like Mario, but with attitude like Sonic, and it was medieval period. So I wanted a sword. So I got a few designs and then we worked it out. But that character was born of I want a mixture of Sonic and Mario with a
there
sword.
You go.
So if you see it, that's part of how the whole thing started. And that's what the game is. It's kind of a love letter to Sonic and Mario, even though Sonic's better.
Interesting. Okay. Well, all right. So let me continue the super chats. I will let that one sit because we don't want any class action no lawsuits to show up because then all of a sudden out of nowhere,
well, first of all,
Everborn Saga gets a haircut.
If we're doing lawsuits, we're gonna have to look up that new Dragon Quest game because that was wild.
That's a different conversation. We need to talk about that one at some point. Yes. So, Adidas 20 with a $5 super chat. Thank you for being here. He said, "What up, fellas? Let's talk about people who got Spider-Man review codes and reported no bugs." Oh boy, we'll have that conversation. I have a feeling there's a lot to share there. Thank you for bringing that up. That is a topic of conversation. I tend to be the guy that is bug prone. So like if you see my timeline, I'm always sharing all the bugs I get, and not just PlayStation games. Like for every game I get, like my bug history in Starfield was glorious. Check the timeline, right? Among other games. But yes, I too caught a bug in Spider-Man 2 yesterday night. Not game breaking. But like, I guess you'd say quest breaking, that like you're in the middle of a quest and like something's supposed to happen in order for the quest to finish. And until it finishes, it's just playing that tense music. You're in the middle of a quest. All the while your NPCs that you're supposed to be dealing with are in the car, just kind of chilling there looking at you like.
Yeah.
I still think that one's your fault.
What?
Some crazy thing just happened, and then you just leave the lodge when you should have went and attended.
No. That's Starfield. You're talking Starfield. You're talking Starfield. I'm talking Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 has that weird bug as well. It has a very odd bug.
They were bumping in the car. I saw your tweet.
You saw my thought. Yeah, they were bumping in the whip. Yeah. Just like sitting there while there's an emergency. Spider-Man's in front of you. You're just like, oh, go get him.
Yeah, I mean, the most common bug that I kept on running into Starfield was like when you would talk to someone, they would be like this.
Oh yeah. They don't turn around.
And it's like, hey, bro, you wanna look at me when I'm talking to you?
Yeah.
Show me a little respect here.
Witch Project.
Have you seen the Angry Joe review of Starfield? Like, I like some of his stuff. That was his number one. Oh, hi. How can I help you?
With the bug eyes.
How can I help you? It's hilarious, bro. So anyway, I guess, you know what? We're going to get this started properly. But you know what, Gaz? Since you, unlike us, are in various degrees of playing of these games we're going to be talking about, let me ask you right from jump, what have you been playing this week, sir? What has been keeping you busy?
Armored Core is amazing.
Okay.
I think that's going to be, like, in a very busy year, that's going to be my personal game of the year. I haven't completed it. I'm nearly completed it.
Wow.
But the journey I've taken on this game, the music's so important to me in games as well. And the vibes of the feels of that game are just amazing. And this week, oh my God, it's going to be sacrilege to say this, but I'm really enjoying Halo, man. Halo Infinite is coming back in a
damn right you are, guys. Damn right you are.
You mean that franchise that's dead? It's dead, ladies and gentlemen. It's dead, at least from a campaign standpoint.
You know what's crazy?
It was dead from a campaign standpoint. That is dead. But
you just said Armored Core. You know, I bought that day one, super hyped for it because I was coming off the Elden Ring high. Bought it day one. Have not even installed it yet.
That's right.
Same thing with Street Fighter 6. I know I'm gonna love the game. It's just this year has been so crazy.
Busy, man.
Like, and it's not like I don't believe in the games. I'm literally buying them and just no time to play them because
best year in gaming, guys.
And it's a new game out.
Yep, best year in gaming ever.
Yeah, it's one of the best years in gaming for me for a very long time. Like even Cocoon, that's another game that could be my game of the year nomination as well. That's an incredible game.
Cocoon
Sonic,
is
I'm
amazing.
Just downloading it.
Absolutely amazing.
I know it's not going to be anywhere close to that because.
Well, I'll tell you what didn't launch with any bugs. Sonic Superstars. How about that?
That's right.
Well, only 5 people have played it, so that's not much of a play test.
Hey, no bugs is no bugs.
That is hilarious.
Okay, but Halo Infinite, though, you guys, that is on its redemption arc in a very, very meaningful way, as at least the multiplayer.
Pierre's cooking. Pierre's cooking over there.
Pierre, the team deserve their flowers. can I get my flowers for not only saying delay Halo, but against all the people that try to downplay Forge as well? Because Forge has saved Halo Infinite. It's the reason why Halo is coming up. And
Absolutely.
Halo,
Yep.
Forge is so powerful now. Like people are the stuff I'm seeing. Someone made a bro. This is the dream come true that even I didn't even imagine, having NPC and enemies in a map. Someone made their own version of Battle Royale. It's so powerful, this tool. So
yeah,
I'm
Firefight is gonna be excellent, and that's gonna see quite a resurgence when that launches.
So let me say something. As someone who hasn't played multiplayer seriously since Halo 5, right? That's just me getting old and my response time being trash. I was on team release it because I wanted the campaign, right? Like that was me. However, could you imagine if they would have sat on Halo until 2022, and then 2022 would not have been the year that it was? And I know it's better now, later in 2023, but still, if they launched
hindsight,
if they launched
2020,
in 2022,
it's the same thing.
Hindsight. What
it's
do you mean
the same-
hindsight?
It's the same,
Bro,
bro. It's the same thing as
"Fuck the
saying.
hindsight. Let's just release this game next year.
He said it.
Hindsight. Hindsight. I can't believe he said Paris Lily in the chat.
It's the
He's like,
same thing
release
as
the game, and then
Redfall
he did a U-turn.
should have been
Paris, I see
released
you.
at Halloween. Some of us said that too, but it is what it is, right? Some of us said that.
Wait a minute. Well, what they should have, how about this? They should have given me the campaign when it was ready in 2021 and said
There you
the
go.
free-to-play game is coming
comes
later.
when it's ready. That's right.
And give that give that in 2022, 2023.
Because you know what? What to Everbone's point, everybody will quick to jump down people's throat about, well, that's not Halo. Halo is this and Halo's that. Halo's multiplayer, true. But Halo's also co-op, true. And Halo's also split screen. All things that can be dashed when they choose to dash it. Okay? So for the benefit of the complete quality product, you should have released one thing that was quality done, and then release the other thing that was quality done, and not listen to all the mouth breathers about, release them both at the same time. No, you should have released them each when they were done.
that was their idea to release them at the same time. Right?
They should have released them when they were done.
I don't think that was pressure from the community.
True.
But
hindsight,
I'm
2020.
still
What are you gonna
on.
do?
The campaign was ready. Give me the campaign, and I'm ready for another piece of campaign, because that's what I'm coming back to Halo. Halo could be as great as you say it is, Gaz, but until they give me another campaign,
See, you hear Mr. Everborn Saga? It is dead until it comes back, until the hero returns.
No, I agree with
to me.
No, it's alive. It's alive and kicking. That community's picking up again. And let me tell you,
the
look,
multiplayer is live and kicking. They got big peaks on Steam numbers as well. Fight, like you say, John. As soon as that comes through, then you're going to see a massive resurgence as well. The single player is a fundamental part of that thing that's missing, that people need to know what actually is going to happen. But one thing I wanted to ask you, gents, do you guys think the rumors, or it seems to be almost semi-established fact now, based on the silence from 343, do you think it's okay to move to Unreal Engine 5 for Halo? Or should they stick with it? Because part of me is like, Halo should be the top visually, like Halo 1, Halo 2, and Halo 4. But the other part of me is like, you put a lot of effort into this engine, and this engine seems quite malleable, quite fluid. What the hell's going on StreamYard?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Paris Lily. Good Lord. What's going on, Paris?
I didn't want to interrupt you. I didn't want to interrupt
the lights
you.
turned off.
I think he's on a good point.
No, keep talking. Go ahead.
Paris Lily. Tell me. Okay, listen. You were on the spec. You were in the position. Don't get delayed. Then you agreed. Look, it should have been delayed. Now we're in this position where Halo's seeing a resurgence in multiplayer. Single player is massively absent, and there's a big question mark around it. Everyone's talking about Unreal Engine 5. What do you think? Should this move to Unreal Engine 5, or will it lose its identity as a Halo game, or should they stick to it now that Pierre and the team are actually good?
I mean, that's the big elephant in the room, right?
Well, let Paris speak on it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's the big elephant in the room. I don't know, because clearly there's something with this current engine that they're not able to generate content quickly enough. I'm imagining they're thinking we'll go to Unreal 5 because You're going to have more developers outside of you're going to be able to attract more talent into the studio to be able to work onto the game.
Mm-hmm.
But it remains to be seen how viable Unreal Engine 5 is going to be on these next-gen consoles, because what we've seen so far has not been that great as far as performance goes. So I don't know. Obviously, it's still rumors. We'll see what Certain Affinity's doing, all that stuff. But it is a huge question mark, to your point. Will Halo lose its identity going to Unreal Engine 5? So we'll have to wait and see.
And the technical points is very, very salient, I think, because I think these consoles are struggling with UE5.
Yeah, yes, they are. But go ahead, Reborn. Go ahead.
The thing that I would add to that is Cyberpunk, right? There was this big wave that they want to move to Unreal Engine 5 for the next Witcher game.
Yep.
And
all games.
People were excited about that until you saw the Phantom Liberty update, and you're like, oh my God, this engine is next level and it's amazing. So should they move just because of pressure and sort of ease of use? And, you know, my thinking is that the Halo multiplayer and the Slip Space engine should continue on for the multiplayer that they're doing, and hopefully they can build a battle royale in it. But I want Halo to evolve into more than just stories around the Master Chief, in the same way I wanted Star Wars to evolve to more than things around the Skywalker.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right
now, are you okay to sacrifice some of the physics of Halo for that purpose? Because that's
yes, but here's the thing. Wait a minute. Let me clarify here. Okay. When I say I want more from Halo, I want other things in the Halo universe. I want third-person games in the Halo universe. I want, survival horror stuff. I want maybe an RPG, whatever, because I feel like the universe is that big, and they make it smaller by only focusing around Chief. I love Chief, right? But there's so much more. And if Pixelbit G's in the chat, he will attest to this. But there's so much more to the universe than that. So for telling stories in the Halo universe, I have no problem saying go to Unreal Engine 5, let people tell a good story. But I think for the multiplayer and what it needs to be, I think you stay in Slip Space.
Can you all imagine Spartan Locke third-person game? How awesome that would be to bring him back that way. That would be phenomenal. But I do agree with what you're saying. To just real fast, Kay. Go ahead, I think that to go back kind of on Gaz, what you were saying, if the game should have been released when it was, I think that they did the right thing, believe it or not. I know that, when we look back and we're like, okay, would the game be in a better place today if they would have launched it today rather than when they did originally? Yeah, I mean, it would have more content, but the issue with Halo Infinite was not the game. The single player aspect of the game was fantastic. I loved it. And the multiplayer, what they launched with at launch, was enough. The problem that Halo ran into was the fact that these updates and content wasn't dropping on a consistent basis. And that is when the player engagement started dropping off.
So Wolf, let me add something to that. Again, this is Microsoft's own doing, right? Because they pitched this thing as two separate SKUs, right? They pitched it as one is a free-to-play game and the campaign is a thing, right? And this is why I'm saying maybe they should have just released the campaign and held off the multiplayer. However, the reason people had that expectation of what the multiplayer should be is because it was pitched as a service. If you had shipped the game traditionally as one thing where okay, this is Halo, this is the set of maps you get, there will be some updates in the future whenever they come out, and it wasn't pitched as a service game, the expectations would be completely different.
I completely disagree with you. Respectfully, I completely disagree with you on this. And there is some hindsight in why I disagree with you, because originally I thought, okay, put out the campaign. You're basically, when they were like Forge isn't coming, some of the things, there'll be a few months delay. I was like, it'll be fine. Who cares? It's only a few months. That obviously turned into being way longer than that. The issue, and John was just touching on this, they could not keep up with the cadence needed for a free-to-play multiplayer with content. And Halo is about the multiplayer. It is. Yeah, the campaign's great. We all love it. That's fine. But that was not enough content to satisfy the Halo community. So if you would have just put that campaign out without any multiplayer at all, it'd have been 10 times worse than what they did when they did put out the multiplayer but couldn't keep up with content. The point was, you should have had campaign co-op ready to go. You should have been feature complete with your battle pass, with a variety of maps. Bring back legacy maps if you necessarily needed to, whatever it did, so that you were keeping up with these seasons that they were having. We've obviously have hindsight to see that now they just could not do this. Yes, season 5, we feel like the game is in a good place. This is where it should have been at launch, honestly. And they had already delayed the game a year. Clearly, they made an executive decision. We don't want to delay it 2 years. So they put it out. That ultimately turned out to be a mistake, too. It has done damage to this franchise, whether people want to admit it or not. That's just the truth. Yes, there is some goodwill that's happening right now. I'm having a blast playing the multiplayer right now. But ultimately, you have to, if you're doing free to play, so you're asking people to invest in a battle pass and to monetize this game long term, you got to have the content to go with it. So if you would have just put out the campaign, I think that would have been a huge mistake for the Halo as a franchise.
So I just received a text from someone called Other Zinc, says Paris doesn't know what he's talking about. He gave 8 out of 10 to Halo 4. What the fuck?
Halo 4? Halo 4 was great.
Halo 4 was amazing.
I love Halo 4. I love Halo 4.
I'm alluding to an altercation Paris had with a very lovely cat.
But really quick, I want to clarify what I'm saying. I'm saying because they pitched it as a service game, as a free-to-play game. I'm saying if you pitched what we got at launch as the same way you pitched what Halo 4 and Halo 5 was, which was a standalone title that has multiplayer elements, I think people would have been happier than the expectation that is set when you say it's a free-to-play game.
It's a free-to-play game.
Separating
Here's where I'll push back again.
Messaging was the problem. Okay, go ahead.
No, part of the messaging was the problem, but here's where I'll push back on what you're saying again. And forget that they said, free-to-play service and all that. What was the Halo game before this one?
Halo 5.
Disaster.
Yep.
Yeah.
Halo 5 disaster.
Well, multiplayer-wise was good, but yeah.
Yeah, that campaign
why
was a
that
disaster.
a disaster, though?
Because the story sucked ass.
Thank
Then
you.
Halo Infinite.
It was very polarizing. It was very polarizing.
And the messaging on that one, 343 and the marketing team were not on the same page.
Yep.
You marketed this game as one thing, and then 343 delivered another.
Another game.
Let me interject myself real fast, because with live service games, right? With live service games like Halo Infinite promises to be, I'm a huge Call of Duty head, okay? Like if you can't tell, all right? So the thing about Call of Duty, the thing that always keeps players engaged and wanting them to go back in Apex and other shooters like that, it's all about the content and the cosmetics, for example, right? So from the beginning, I asked myself, why have I kind of distanced myself from the Halo Infinite multiplayer? And it's because they didn't have cool shit. It's just the truth. They launched with those battle passes. I had zero incentive to try to collect anything that they were offering on those battle passes, right? Now, fast forward to where we are today, man, they got some cool looking shit, okay? And I want it all. So I think that if they would have just been able to understand the market a little bit better with a live service in the live service arena, I think that this, like one quick example where me and Kay, we talked about this on one of your shows, that me and you couldn't understand this. How do you release a Halo show on Paramount Plus and you don't have any content for Halo Infinite? No crossover. Doesn't make any sense. Okay, you didn't even have a Master Chief skin. Okay, it makes absolutely no sense.
See, okay,
and that
now,
where they ran into trouble.
To your point, real quick, John Wolf, we gave them the smoke then. Another season is coming in 2024. If there's still no tie-in, oh boy, the smoke will be twice over, because you had it before.
I believe Pierre Hines will have that ready. One thing to think about, though,
he's doing great.
Why we're seeing this now? Because there's this new sort of requirement that everything that they build content-wise is built in Forge. So they can turn these things around a lot faster than before.
And I hear Forge AI is going to change everything on its head. Like the AI component is really
already has.
Yeah. It's really doing some very interesting things there. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. I see almost 160 people in the chat watching live. Thank you. As the man says, smash
All
that
Sonic
like button.
fans, by the way. All Sonic fans.
But you know what?
So
Go
just
ahead.
before we get off this topic, I do want to say, Paris, you brought up Halo 5 and how that was sort of a disaster at launch.
Mm-hmm.
The game itself was not a disaster, right? It is the expectations that were set, and it seems like 343 keeps running into this problem where marketing is setting.
As a campaign stand, I'll tell you the story itself was kind of a disaster as well. The story was muddled. It wasn't great.
Well, hold on. In Halo 5, I do not think the story was as good as Halo 4, but I think the problem with Halo 5
moment to moment became confusing.
I don't know. I really feel like it's because they set us up in the marketing to expect one thing.
Sure.
If we didn't have that expectation, I think the story would have been fine.
Bro, Halo Infinite had to go doubly hard to fix the mistakes of Halo 5.
And that's
by
the point.
ignoring them.
Yeah, and it didn't do that. It retconned it.
I mean,
they story for holographs and like, off-screen stuff. It's egregious. It's egregious. I don't care what anyone says. That's absolutely false. I don't care. It's subjective. Finish up.
Well, what happened, Gads? Gads, is that they put, and I'm sorry to interrupt you. They put Locke against Master Chief. That's a character that we have loved for decades, and that's not a good way
that's bold.
to make
that's
an introduction.
But then don't have Locke then suddenly Microsoft off. Master Chief off at the end of it. That you sold this massive head 1v like face off, and I was ready for that face off because it was mad. And there was this wicked fight scene where Master Chief kind of got battered as well. You had the new gen Spartans versus the old gen ones, and then they suddenly kumbaya started working together. I actually liked Locke more than Master Chief.
Oh, but come on, guys! But we've seen that throughout history in comics and cartoons. The good guys fight and then they come together.
All right, I think we're off the rails. I think we should be celebrating season 5.
I'm trying.
Season 5 is good.
There you go. Rein it back in, ladies and gentlemen. Rein it back in.
Yeah,
but you know what? I'm not sure how long we have Mr. Paris Lily for it. So since I know that he, like me, is one of the only other people on this panel currently that has played Spider-Man, sir, I will ask you, sir, first and foremost, to kick us off. What are your thoughts? I know you have a great review that will most likely be up. I think it's probably. Have I already seen some of your review coverage?
You didn't get a red chair from them, so we want to hear the bugs. Talk about the bugs, bro.
Stop it! Don't be that way.
The bugs there.
Go ahead, man.
Digital Foundry coming out saying it.
I will tell people my thoughts.
Henderson.
Paris, what are your thoughts on Spider-Man 2?
I mean, I love Spider-Man 2. I think it's going to be a Game of the Year contender, absolutely. But I came on here specifically to talk about the whole Spider-Man 2 bug thing that I've been seeing the past couple of days.
Let's talk about it.
I will tell you look, no red chair or not, Gaz, I will tell you with complete honesty, I didn't run into that many bugs playing through the game. And I've had it since the beginning of October.
Okay.
Yeah, to be honest, Colt and Fonz are playing it. They haven't encountered any bugs.
Yeah. So, and my point on it is this. Were there a few bugs here or there? Yeah, but there was nothing game-breaking that took away from the experience like, oh my God, I need to deduct points from this. This is terrible. This is my opinion from what I've played, because I have played about 35 hours, 100% the game, platinum, the whole thing, right?
Nice.
When I see all these screenshots and these videos with the bugs and all that, I won't curse, but I think it's complete BS. This is the console war nonsense again, where let's not for you, I know. But let's over-exaggerate something because you felt your game didn't get the love that it deserved, which I guess is Starfield.
It's more out here.
So let's punish Spider-Man 2. It's ridiculous. It's all ridiculous. Just like I've said, the Starfield stuff is completely ridiculous. Where, it's like, I think this is where we are now, where every time there's a major release on one of these platforms, let's nitpick it to death and overemphasize it so we can have bragging rights online. Spider-Man 2 is fine. It is a phenomenal game. Insomniac is completely in their bag with this. It is one of the best games you will play this year. Period, point blank. Are there some bugs? Sure. But not enough that completely takes away from the game. Not at all. If you didn't think Starfield was buggy, then you shouldn't think Spider-Man 2 is buggy.
Why is Digital Foundry saying that something is up with possibly the day one patch that seems to have encountered
That
loads
could-
of problems.
And that
ACG
could
also
be
said-
it. That could be it, because again, and I could pull a screenshot and show you. I 100%ed it on October 16th or whenever
Right.
date that was. It might have been earlier than that, but my point is, I completed it before this day one patch came out. I have not played it since this day one patch has come out. So just full disclosure. And a lot of people that reviewing it, that's what happened, because I know just with the Kind of Funny guys, we were talking the entire time while we were playing. I was actually one of the last people to finish it of that group. So maybe this patch came in and made it more buggy than it was when I was reviewing. I don't know. I only know what my experience was, and that was pre-launch.
So let's separate the performance from the game itself a little bit, because we all know, yeah, you can say what you will, and the Warriors will war. I get it. But this is Insomniac.
Can I address something? I have to address your chat. I address your chat. Come in here and I give my honest opinion every time I come in here. And every time the chat likes to do this anonymous BS crap that I see in here. I am not giving anything a pass. Your console war is stupid. Let it go. Go play your games and enjoy them. No, I'm glad Gaz is here because he's the opposite of me. He loves this stuff. I don't. I don't play the console war thing. It's the dumbest thing ever. Ever.
No,
Play
it's not
the
going to
games.
change. Paris Lily's kumbaya. Oh, let's care about justice and equity will not change. People are people. Starfield got shat on so bad,
boy.
every conceivable angle. And you want us to go, kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya. No chance. No chance. Fuck Spider-Man. First of all, I think it's overrated.
Okay.
All these stupid J-Rock. I want to give my flowers to J-Rock. He's doing the Lord's work. Share that out.
The
Bugging
views,
games in that because of
the
him.
views of
Because
Septic
him,
Sauce
Digital
don't
Foundry are
represent
saying,
GCP.
oh, hold on. Yeah, maybe. Digital Foundry, and even John Linneman's scratching his head. Like, oh shit, maybe he's right. And then ACG comes out because he's bold, because he's seeing J-Rock, not J-Dub, wrong J. But J-Rock's sharing it.
I like
He's doing the
J-Dub.
Lord's work.
J-Dub's funny every now and
He's
again.
funny.
I like them both. I like them both. I like J-Dub and J-Rock. But like, come on, man. Like, this is how the truth is dealt with. Equity. We balance the books in this way. You may not like it, Paris.
Balance the books. The bank needs to get paid, huh?
What are you balancing?
What books are being
The
balanced
internet?
here?
Okay,
Bro,
can
it's
let
all
me
the
say
internet,
something.
man.
Go ahead,
Let me say
my
something,
boy. Go ahead.
how I look at this. To me, as long as none of this stuff like gets personal, it's all fun and games. I don't care what anybody says.
Oh,
In
it
the
gets
same way we
personal,
look
though.
at
It does.
no,
Yeah, that's
that's
the problem.
disgusting. The personal
Yeah.
stuff is disgusting, and
Yeah,
we,
it's
we
petty.
don't
It's
want
human
any of
nature.
that.
Human nature.
Get out of here with that, right? With the personal stuff. But
Yeah.
for me, it's the same thing as when people watch sports and they play the dozens, and you make jokes about these things, and you make jokes about sports teams, and you celebrate when your team wins, and you make jokes when they lose, or you got to take the heat when your team loses.
I lived in
That's
New
all
England
it
for many
is.
years. I'm a
As-
Patriots fan. What are you gonna do?
as- and it's all.
Go
I
Dolphins.
just don't understand how people understand that when it comes to sports, but not when it comes to video games. Again, we've seen some effing weirdos, and I know Paris, you see it way more than us because you have people like
I'm seeing it right now in your chat.
right?
Yeah, please be respectful.
When people
Come on, guys.
when people
Be
get
respectful,
personal,
please.
we don't want anything to do with that. But if we're just talking about jokes, I'm all for it. I don't care if you make a joke about Xbox or Sonic or PlayStation or Mario getting cheated on by Peach with Bowser. I don't care about any of that, right? It's just keep it
respectful.
gaming.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
all
But
joke.
Everborn,
And-
back in our day, okay, when it was the Sega Nintendo days, all right,
Yes.
and it's right on cue for like the theme here. It like I remember I first had a Super Nintendo, right? So the friends of mine that had a Sega Genesis, it's always back and forth. It was always friendly banter, whatever the case may be. But guess what? I'd be damned if I would keep myself from going over to their house to play on that
That's
Sega
what
Genesis.
I'm saying. You would say,
And vice versa.
Right. So the Super Nintendo dudes would be like Street Fighter's betters over here. And then we would be like, we got blood in our Mortal Kombat, but then we're going to each other's house afterwards, still arguing about it. we could joke about these things, right? Let's
Mhm.
just keep it.
We can keep it gaming.
All
We can
these
keep it
calls
gaming.
for
Yeah.
peace, they're so like when Paris Lee.
I'm not
when
talking
you-
about peace.
when
I don't want
pushes
peace.
these,
I want
we can do
problems.
better.
Always.
It's the most
Just don't
pointless
say-
tweet. It's the most
I
pointless
don't-
tweet.
I don't want.
It's
people
like
to
we
take
can
it
do
personal.
better. Okay, Dad. No one does it better. No one is. It's not those tweets just vex me so much.
no.
Oh,
You
I'm
have to understand.
I am
Gaz,
1,000% comparing this chat right now to Twitter because
Oh no.
you're being disrespectful. Number one,
Yeah, that's
you're
not
not listening to opinions because again, I don't give two S's about the console war. There's no peace. There's no kumbaya. Go play the freaking games that you want to go play because it's your money. I could give two craps what anybody else thinks.
They
So
love
why?
it.
My point is, why care what other people think if you're enjoying the game? Why go out of your way? Why go out of your way trying to condemn something? Because my favorite game, there were people that said mean things about it. So now I must go say mean things about their game too.
Kind of
That's
childish,
what I'm
no?
talking about.
Kind of childish. Absolutely.
Childish.
It
We're
is.
the nucleus of this. You want us
It
to
is
pull
childish.
our emotions away after being subjected to all this rhetoric that the companies that we are
See,
talking
Gaz,
about
Gaz.
actually openly admit that they use and utilize. to
You are
rally
right.
fans.
Gaz,
And
you
then,
have to understand. Look.
Let me say this to the chat
go ahead,
again
go ahead.
really quick. Let me say this really quick. If you guys want me to leave, I can leave.
Oh, no.
I would
No.
like-
Absolutely not.
No, let me say this.
Oh,
I would
please.
like to have an adult conversation about this.
Yeah.
Not the personal attacks, not the back and forth. It's like if you
Absolutely.
want to have a reasonable conversation about this, let's do it. But if every time I'm trying to give a reasonable opinion, it's basically being poo-pooed on by the chat, why am I here? I don't need to waste my time.
No, yeah.
I'm not seeing that much madness.
In all seriousness, please, ladies and gentlemen, be respectful. If you're not, I will boot you.
Yeah, be
I have no
respectful to
problem.
guests.
I have no problem booting you. If it's between Mr. Paris Lily on this panel or you in the chat, it's you. I'm sorry, you're gone. So
Yeah.
please be respectful.
You come at me though. Come at me. Come at me.
Those who have the elevated powers of modders, you have the right to snipe. You are my snipers. Please snipe the morons who are in the chat. Please, Paris, forgive the chat. We're here. This is
Don't look at the
this is
chat.
what this is what we're here for. We're here for adult conversation. Some people come and do ridiculousness. It's unnecessary.
No, here's my point on this.
Mhm.
Give me just a second. Just give me a little bit of room. 2023 is arguably one of the greatest years we've ever seen with gaming. I don't care what platform you want to play on. Go play the games that you like. It's like when I see the constant bickering back and forth about, well, your game had this bug, so now it's crap. Or it's so funny, like Gaz, you brought up the Zinc thing. Like that dude was on a crusade because how dare I say Starfield was a 4 out of 5 and a great game and not a perfect game. It's stuff. No, he's insane. But my point is, it's like, go play what you want. If you love Spider-Man, go play Spider-Man. If you love Starfield, go play Starfield. And it's like, there's no neutral, there's no Xbot, there's no pony. Who cares? You have to spend your money to play these games. So there's nobody on planet Earth except my wife that is going to tell me how to spend my money and where I want to play my games. Period, point blank. So that's my point. When I see the chat, I see Twitter, and it's like you try to have a reasonable conversation.
Yeah.
And it's, well, I'm offended because my team, I guess, didn't win. It's like, here's the thing. I am on arguably one of the most popular Xbox podcasts out there, right? For whatever you want to say about it.
Indeed.
But the point is, yes, I love Xbox. Yes, I talk about Xbox. But I like PlayStation too. I like Nintendo too. I like Ubisoft. I like EA. I like games, period, point blank. So it's like, just because you may have a preference towards something doesn't mean you can't also celebrate the games on another platform too. So when I see a game like Spider-Man 2 come out, is it perfect with the bugs? Obviously not. But that doesn't instantly make it a terrible game. Just like people, oh, it's short. I don't want to play it because I can beat it in 10 hours. If you beat that game in 10 hours, you're missing out on so much content, so much story that's there.
I will let I want to talk properly about Spider-Man because I feel like yourself and myself may be the only ones that have experience with it so far on this panel, and I don't want to give it short shrift. But before I do that, let me bring on another panel member, because it seems that that's what we do these days. We get in the panel, we start conversations, and people are like, let me in here. So ladies and gentlemen, the legendary Mr. Boomstick Excel. Welcome,
Hey,
sir.
what's going on, everybody?
How you doing, Boom?
Listen, I had
How
to
did
jump
come
in.
on?
The 5 million views man.
Thank
Welcome,
you.
sir.
Yes. Yeah, we did. The channel crossed 5 million views in under 6 years. Pretty
Excellent.
crazy
Bada
considering
boom.
we're not even at
Salute to you, good sir.
14K yet, which
Yes.
is just amazing. But that's thanks to the community. Well, you don't have views unless you put out content that people want to watch,
Mhm.
and if you don't put out good content, people are not going to watch.
Yep.
I wanted to jump in with the Halo thing. I know I'm a little late, and the Spider-Man thing.
Please,
I put
please,
it this way. First of all, Halo Infinite, if you have not played season 5, let's say you stepped away in season 1 and 2, and you were like, yeah, the content's just not there. I hear you. I absolutely hear you. I don't argue with you. It was just a slow drip faucet. It was not enough. It wasn't broken because the combat was phenomenally good, but there was not enough content for the players to keep coming back. I have 16 plus days in Halo Infinite, mostly multiplayer. Last night I hit level 39 in the battle pass that released on Tuesday. There's only 50 levels for this battle pass. I'm almost done with it, and I'm still going to keep playing. I absolutely adore it. I think that Halo is at a place now, multiplayer, where it needed to be. It is probably the best season. We started to see a change in season 3. Season 4 was absolutely phenomenal, and the fact that they have included the Flood is both sad and exciting, because not only do they have armor cores that give you the Flood, look to it that you can get, but it's bothers me and I have to defend Everborn here, and of course you as well, Asante. Where is our single player story driven game? And when we talk about the Halo universe, it really bothers me that from 2001 to now, we've barely scratched the surface on anything that's outside of Chief. We did have ODST, all right, okay, that's great. We did have Reach, again, another great one. But because of this ABK deal, Microsoft, or specifically Xbox Game Studios, finds themselves in a very, very unique position. And multiplayer, I know you guys are talking about engines. I think that there's a world where single player could run on an Unreal Engine 5 to tell a cinematic story, leave Slip Space where it is alone on multiplayer.
Hey, Boom, you're cooking right now, but I just want to add some Caribbean spice.
Please, by all means, love spice.
But let me ask you a question.
Yes,
what
sir.
if instead of Unreal Engine 5, they told the Halo story in the Infinity Engine? I think that's the Infinity word, what COD uses.
I would be okay with that. Yeah, I would absolutely be okay with that, because
Paris, Gaz, no? Okay.
I mean,
see,
Unreal
look,
Engine is
the thing that real quick, the thing that I need people to get away from is telling these guys what tools they should use. Because when I tell you that the same engine is used for Horizon Zero Dawn as is used for the walking simulator that is Death Stranding, engines can be elastic. They can be dynamic. Yeah. It depends on the guys, using the tools, making it do. Have you seen all the things that Unity has been able to do over the years?
Yes,
like
ridiculous.
Quickly assuming that they're using Unreal Engine, so it'll go here or it'll go there is putting short shrift the talent on display by these folks that spend a lot of time and energy doing it. So while I hear you, because they tend to be this way or that way, I will push back just a little bit in saying you guys are a little flippant with your assumption that it will go one way versus another, and not putting enough talent enough of their talent into consideration. I would contend that a studio like Naughty Dog will make The Last of Us 2 with an Unreal Engine or a custom engine or anything else. It just takes time and effort and energy, right? So if they decide to go Unreal with Halo, there's a lot more that's necessary, because as we all know, Unreal lacks certain features, physics and whatnot, that we're used to with Halo, but that doesn't mean it's impossible to have running. People bolt things onto Unreal all the time. I'm just saying, let's not be so flippant with the ability of, Unreal can't do this, so Halo's going to suffer for it. We don't know that for sure. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Boom. You were saying.
No. It makes perfect sense because, again, I'm not a designer and I would never want to be. See, for me, I don't want to know how the sauce is made. I just want to enjoy the sauce. And so that's for you guys. That's for you guys. I'm here to say that we are in I'm part of Xbox. Xbox is in a position where they are going to now have a plethora of talent joining Xbox Game Studios. And this talent, who's been in the salt mines of Call of Duty for decades at this point, have the talent and the know-how to make a first-person shooter and do it well, especially when, like, for instance, Call of Duty multiplayer is an incredibly different animal than the single-player campaigns that we know, love, and play. Single player campaigns give you a 12-hour or 14-hour story, and we love it. And it's cinematic, and it's bombastic, and there's a lot of explosions, and it's like watching a Michael Bay. It's like playing a Michael Bay movie. If you're into that, which I am, you'll enjoy it. There is a world where, and Everborn said it. I really think that after 20 plus years with a Halo franchise that has been Master Chief. Not saying I don't want Master Chief to go away, but let me just throw this out there because I know Xbox listens. I did this yesterday. I'm gonna throw the same pitch. One of the stories that I think that go untold and bothers me so much that we did not get a return of them in Infinite is the Flood. The Flood is your zombies. It is in the books, which I've not had read of all of them, only a few. Zeta Halo, where they were originally created, is a story that you could bring to life via video game. And this could be, now again, make it first person, sure, if that's what you want to do. But if you really want to, go all in on let's try something different and shock the world, you make a survival horror type of experience on Zeta Halo with a scientist that is left in the rubble of what has happened after the Flood has escaped from the lab. He finds a weapon, he finds another weapon, and you got to make it to the end of tell a nice Resident Evil-esque story, 8 to 10, 12 hours. That could be done in a relatively decent amount of time. Boom. And you can put it out there.
I'm gonna pick up what you're putting down and say, make it from soft difficult. When the person who you pick up dies, make it a different person. I would
also say that
don't third person.
Relegate it. There's a lot of creative directions you can take Halo. You can do third person. You can do all sorts, and I think Halo needs to diversify in a meaningful way that actually does the core story justice, because the story in Halo that you think or for people who haven't read the books, what you're being told is the basic story. The worst parts are in the game. The best parts are in the books. Even like the Forerunner Precursor War. If you had that, then Paris showed his face finally.
I thought you were gonna have a Mario costume on. I thought that's why you were.
Stop it.
So it's like there's a lot there. If you told the story of the Precursor Forerunner War, that completely, in my opinion, absolutely eclipses Master Chief's story, the Reclaimer story. But Boom, that you're here. Can I just before
go ahead, go ahead. Speak on it. Then we'll reframe and start talking about.
I just want to balance.
We'll start talking about Spider-Man next.
Rock bottom him.
Go ahead.
I just want to quickly balance the books. Paris is a good time to leave. Good. I was going to say, look, there's a utility in. You still got your 360.
There you go.
That's Lego 360. That's awesome.
What is that?
It's Lego.
Awesome.
A pre-built Lego 360. It's awesome. It's really cool.
Yeah, the Lego, that just released. Okay. That's dope.
Yeah, I think Jesse Norris also had one of those. It's really cool.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
I will say, console warring has its place. There's no way you can take all that energy and passion and then let it out in the ether. look, Paris likes Kumbaya. That's fine. Some of us are
Until it
in
comes
the
to
trenches.
Sonic. Then the council war
Yeah,
comes
then
out,
his nails.
doesn't
Then,
it?
then Paris's nails come out when it comes to Sonic.
There's about to smoke.
Everborn, you are on this massive losing streak with Sonic. Mario
Oh,
is
man.
destroying it
I'm
critically.
holding the line.
Sales. Do you
I'm
realistic? What
holding the
metric?
line.
Okay,
What
okay.
metric?
We got this. A
So-
few days
Uh-huh.
days of having an advantage is right now. Sonic
Stop.
is
Stop
outselling
it.
Mario right now.
That is
It-
not. That is in no universe is that
We
even
got
currently
days.
true.
We got days, baby.
On multiple
There he
platforms
goes.
as well.
There
Oh,
he
there you
goes.
go.
Look at that. There he goes. Okay, so you know what?
There
You
you
know
go.
what?
OLED as well.
Let's
Nice.
switch. Well, you know what? We all got ways of playing Mario. Let's switch to
Piracy.
to talking about
That's what
games.
it's all
No,
about
no,
right
no,
there.
no. We're not talking piracy. Stop that, you. What's wrong with you guys?
Hey,
This
I
is
do
terrible.
want to say one
Steam
quick
Deck,
thing
man.
before
Of
you
course,
move
we're
on,
talking
Kay.
piracy.
Yes, sir.
I had already purchased Sonic Superstars,
Mhm.
but when I tried to install it on my second Xbox in the
Mhm.
office, the one that's in here,
Yep.
I searched for it and it would not come up like at all.
Oh,
It
just
was
try it
showing
again.
every
It was
other
doing you a
Sonic.
favor.
Buy it again. Buy it again.
Oh.
Buy it again, everybody, so that we can
I
get
was
those
just
numbers
trying
in.
to download it.
It's
So I'm
real.
just saying, Sonic is being artificially held back. Nintendo
Oh,
won't let
Lord.
you use your Nintendo points to buy it.
Yup.
Xbox, for some stupid reason,
Mhm,
is not
mhm.
even letting you. The
Censoring
search
him.
Feature is not.
Yeah.
is
And
not
what are
working
we
properly.
doing? What are
Who
we
knows
doing?
What's happening on
We
PlayStation?
here on this show are helping you with this Sonic, with this craziness. We want Sonic to win. Like, look, even though I'm on the other side of this argument, I am rooting for Sonic, and as such, as I've said before, if for the 210 people that are in here right now, if you check the chat, that is the first half of, that's a small piece of the full code for Sonic Superstars on
Hey,
Xbox,
let me
which
ask-
I am.
let me
Wait.
ask-
Well, let me finish doing the hostily duties here. Give me a moment.
Gotcha.
Which I'm going to be sharing with the community. That's the first half of it. I will be sharing more as we go along because,
Mhm.
as we all know, Sonic needs all the help he can get, ladies and
Oh
gentlemen.
wow.
Hey.
Everyone.
You know what? I think Sonic is a game that now we're talking Sonic Superstars is a game that more of us on this panel have played. I know John Wolf has played it. I know that Paris, you've played it.
Multiple
I know that
times.
Mr. Boomstick, you've played it. I
Mhm.
know that Mr. Everborn Saga, you're currently playing it. I've played it. I don't know that you've played it. Have you yet? Guys, have you played it?
Yes.
No,
he
it's
said no.
staring at me right
It's
now.
staring
I
at him.
will play it.
Okay. So one thing,
might
the
wanna play
thing
now.
that I want to talk about, and Paris and those who've played it, you guys can talk. You can tell me if I'm wrong about it, right? And we'll get
You're
into
wrong.
this because I want to talk about this conversation properly. Yeah, yes, absolutely, yes. Go ahead and tell me when I'm wrong, right off the bat. Yes, I want to get this proper. But of the three games we're talking about, Sonic Superstars, Mario Wonder, and Spider-Man 2, I would say the least of them with spoilers is Sonic Superstars. Am I wrong?
Because no one cares
I
about
would
the
contend.
story.
No, but see, this is where I would go with it, right? I would even contend that where Mario, Mario's story, it tends to be paper thin or whatever. The gameplay has spoilers. It has gameplay elements that are shocking when you come across them, and nobody should spoil it for you until you get to it. So those are gameplay element spoilers, and we shouldn't talk about them.
Mhm.
Even though I would say Sonic kind of doesn't have that. Anyone's ready to fight me on that? Everborn Saga, am I wrong there?
There are certain things that happen, not super consequential, but you
Okay.
know,
Well,
things that put a
if
smile
that's
on
the
your
case,
face.
if that's the case,
No,
then
no,
we'll
no, no,
dance
no,
around
that's
that.
fine. That's fine. No, I'm
Okay.
not dancing around anything. We'll talk
Okay.
about Sonic.
Because I
I'm
don't
just
want to have
saying-
spoilers. I on this show I want to keep the spoilers low, especially Spider-Man and even Mario, because I think that
Kind of
that's
seems like you're protecting Mario, but you're throwing Sonic under the rug. But it's fine.
what?
Well,
I'm about to
You want him
give
to
the man
run.
his
You want him to
flowers.
run with his shoelaces tied together. That's what you want here. No, but
do you-
seriously speaking,
Do you want me to change into this right here live on air just to show you my Sonic commitment? I will do that for you.
I think you should do that. Okay.
No, shut up.
It's okay.
You don't want to challenge me, sir.
It's okay. Hold on a second.
go ahead.
Before we move on to the proper Sonic, because the reason that I'm really here today to talk to you guys and with Everborn is because check this out, Paris, and I'm glad that you're here because I really want to pick your brain on this. Okay.
Paris is
No,
gonna say
don't do
no
this. Don't do this now.
No,
This
do
is
it.
not,
Do it.
this is not what I want to
Do
do
it
right now
while we
because it's
have
going to
it.
turn
Okay.
into chaos. I don't want to do that right now. Please
Okay.
give me a moment.
Well,
Give me a
where I was gonna
moment.
go back, what I was gonna say is, I think Boom was gonna mention something about Spider-Man, correct? Like in your
yeah, I have
playthrough.
something to say about Spider-Man. Yeah.
Yes,
got it.
I want to talk about Spider-Man as well. I want to talk about Spider-Man as well.
We'll get
But
into that.
before I get there, I want to talk about Sonic because that's what everyone here more than anyone has played, right?
It's
We've
really
all had
good.
a piece
I
of Sonic.
mean,
Go
I'm
ahead,
enjoying
Boom.
it. It
You
is the
start.
Best
Yes.
looking Sonic. Look, they have tried different things with Sonic over the years. Some have not hit. Some have hit in a big time. This, for me, as a Sonic fan, is probably the best running, looking, playing Sonic that I've played easily in 5 years.
Let him know.
Now,
Okay.
last year's Sonic, I personally really enjoyed it because I'm a Dreamcast Sonic day one kind of a guy. I like an open world 3D Sonic. So last year's Sonic was amazing. When they said they were coming out with another Sonic, I was like, oh my, so quick. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is this going to be? Are they just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks? That was my fear. And then I saw some video of it. I saw some reviews, which the reviews don't mean nothing to me because I'm going to buy it anyway. I bought 3 copies. I bought one for me, one for Tyler, and on Switch, and I bought it on Xbox. I'm always good for 3. That's my
Support
thing.
the cause, Boom. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, and if Tyler wants it for the Xbox, then I'll buy it for him there. That's just what I'll do. But I am thoroughly, absolutely astounded how gorgeous this game looks. Sonic and everyone just looks so good. The worlds look so real. And if you're finding Sonic for the first time, maybe it's not your bag. But OG Sonic fans have to appreciate. I mean, I remember Sonic 1 from when I bought the Sega Genesis back in the days, and to get from there to where, and back then it was beautiful. Where we are now, I mean, what a privilege to see Sonic grow the way he is. This is, in my opinion, probably one of the finest Sonics in a very, 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 very long time.
Mr. Lilly, how about you? Your off the dome take as a person who too has played a lot of Sonic. I know you have, sir. We've all, if you're a man of a certain age, if the grays come out, you know you contended with Sonic on a numerous occasions. What is your off as a person who's probably wanted to see Sonic head to a certain direction, where they are now? What was your initial, in a vacuum, no comparisons, just your thoughts?
Yeah, and I am going to circle back to what I need to say later.
Sure,
but
absolutely.
Being serious for a second, no, Sonic Superstars is great. It's fine. It's a good, solid game. I guess on a 10 scale, I'd probably say it's like 8 out of 10. I've enjoyed my time with it. My only real critique, I don't have 100. I don't feel the sense of speed that I think I should have with Sonic. If that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
Where
it does.
I'm enjoying going through the levels, doing what I'm doing. You play with Tails, Sonic, with Knuckles, etc. But I feel like it should be faster. And I'm playing on PS. I'm playing on PS5 just for context, but I'm enjoying it. Now I have to say this because I think this is just the elephant in the room.
The Mario elephant?
Yeah. When I compare it to Mario.
See, this is the problem. Let's not do that yet. Let's not
All
do
right,
that
I won't
yet.
do that. All right, I won't do
Let's
that
not.
then. I won't do that then.
Because I feel this thing, because look, they have been on a tour, they've been on a journey. Sonic Team has been on a journey for some time, and I kind of feel like they deserve some flowers here. Because this is finally please.
Here's what I'll say then. For what Sega's doing, I feel like they are taking the Sonic franchise in the right direction between what they're doing with Superstars, what they did last year or the year before with Frontiers. It's going in the right direction. We had this conversation, I guess it was last week when I came on, when you had the panel going on, and we're talking about should Xbox buy Sega and all that. I still say no.
And Mr. John Wolf, put a pin in it. Put a pin in it, John.
Yeah.
It's okay.
For the simple fact that I think Sonic will have the most success if it stays multi-platform, if it's on everything, because you're going to open it up to a wider audience. Now, if Xbox were to buy Sega and keep it multi-platform, great then. But if anything, when I think about Sonic Superstars right now, a big boon for it probably would have been seeing it on PS Plus, seeing it on Game Pass, exposing it to more people, because I think the newer generation does not connect with Sonic like we do or did back in the 90s, right? When it first came out. I still think there's some proving that Sonic needs to do for the new generation. I think Superstars is a good step forward for that to happen. I think if anyone picks up Superstars and plays it, they're going to enjoy their time.
Yes.
It'll feel well worth their time.
Paris, you know what I think it actually is, to be honest with you. And even though I'm in this bet with Everborn, and I'll hold the line on it, but I think that the biggest hurdle that Sonic Superstars had to face, especially this week, launching against Mario and Spider-Man, is that it launched at $60. If they would have been at that $39.99 sweet spot, where I think a lot more people, it would have become an impulse buy.
You know what this would be if you did that? I'm going to give you this analogy to see if the old heads get this. This will be NFL 2K5
there you go.
over again.
There you go.
Yeah.
Whereas it's a quality game, but because you put it at a discount price,
it's undeniable at that point.
People are going to give it a side eye, going, "Well, wait, why is it only $40? Why is this not a full price game?" You know what I'm saying? As crazy as that may sound, I think that would factor into it if you did put it at a discount.
Okay, that's an interesting way of looking at it.
So hold on, real quick. Let me before we lose them. Let me quickly catch up real quick. Only a few of them. Mr. Gerald Mack, $5 super chat. Thank you, Gerald. He says, "Can they build a Gaming Circle podcast emoji in Forge? Wink, wink. Asking for a friend." Xbox for World Order. Salute to the gaming community. He's looking for the gaming emojis. Yes, I know. We're dragging our feet on that. We're working on it.
I'll be one of those brutes.
Myself and Everborn, I've talked about it. We need to get emojis in the chat. We're gonna do it. We're gonna turn it on soon enough. We promise you. It's just life happens, man. It takes some time, and we're doing the best we can.
He's waiting on me, is what he's trying to find a nice way of saying.
We have time, you know. And then XX Wolverine 3XX. I guess that's how you say that. He says, use whatever engine, just make a campaign first. Again, exactly. Yes, make me feel like I'm a first party citizen again.
They
instead
can
of like
the Snowdrop engine if they want. Just
as long as it's a good engine.
Another Halo campaign out.
That's right. And then of course, the brother, Mr. Slow-Mo Backslap, with a $5 super chat. What's going on, sir? He says, a contribution to Everborn and John Wolf's knee replacement surgery. You're gonna need more than $5 for that, but thank you, sir. Appreciate you. I see everyone still, with them as they're holding, quote unquote, the line. You keep doing that. All right. So let's get back to it. Let's reframe the conversation again. I know Everborn Saga, you are the biggest proponent of this game. You think it's the second coming of Jesus. Tell us how much you love it. Go ahead.
I mean, I don't think it's the second coming of Jesus, but sure. I think I'm
being hyperbolic, so you don't have to be.
I know. We talked about this earlier in the week when I was only like on Act 3, and now I'm on, I think, Act 8 or Act 9. I think it's Act 8, or I just finished Act 8. Well, not Act 8. It's like the stage, and then you have 2 acts for most stages. But anyway, I'm pretty sure that I'm close to the end. And towards the end, they really start doing some interesting things. So, for example, there's a level towards the end where Dr. Robotnik or Eggman or whatever you want to call him hits a self-destruct button, and you have to keep progressing through the level and pressing a reset on the counter for the level to explode, right? Or you die. And there's a lot of things. There's a lot of interesting mid-level bosses. So you'll fight just a robot boss for your mid-level, for your Act 1 boss, and then Act 2 boss is always Robotnik for the most part. And what I think they've done a really good job of is making all the characters feel very different, right? So I do get that Sonic could feel slow sometimes, but then when you play as Knuckles, speed is not really your objective there. And then when you play with Amy, she has that double jump, which changes the play style that you use. And Knuckles can glide and climb.
Has anybody actually played it in co-op just yet? I figured that would change the dynamic of the game.
Because I don't like people. Okay. Everybody sees me on Xbox Live. They're like, "What are you doing? Come to our party chat." I'm like, okay.
Okay.
Anyway,
I feel like playing on couch co-op specifically would change the dynamics of that game. I will have to play with the kids and report back. But continue. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. I'm probably gonna do the same. But my point is, in the beginning I was only playing as Sonic, and I'll tell you what I told you at first. I think it's a great game, and they're doing everything that I wanted them to do. They're doing everything that I expected from a game like this, which is give me Sonic Mania with today's graphics. And they've done that for the most part. But I said they've done everything they need to do, but they didn't go above and beyond. That's what I said after stage 3. Now at stage 8, while trying other characters besides Sonic, while understanding how the emeralds give you powers, which is very
individual, which is cool.
Gives you a power. Again, seeing the difference in play style to each of the characters. Like I said, I really love that they actually did the work to make them feel different, and then seeing the cool sort of gimmicks and level designs that they're doing, all make it something special. Where I'm going to deduct a point, this is why it doesn't get a 10 from me. I don't know if can you guys hear me? Where I'm going to deduct a point is the music. The music is, we just showed up, we did what we needed to do, and right. And I'm comparing this to and I know the same music wouldn't work, but if you played Frontiers and you played the cyberspace levels, which is like the boost old school style 3D Sonic levels, it's not even in the same stratosphere of, because Sonic, that's always been a pillar of Sonic, right? You're nodding your head when that music comes on, right? It's above and beyond from a lot of franchises. So I think they really kind of phoned in the music.
Are you saying that everything else from a gameplay, all that stuff hits it out of the park, but the music drags it down for you?
The music is the least good thing about the game. Now, another thing, the art style is great, especially the character models. However, I don't know if I'm a huge fan of how they've employed the 3D in it, and I don't know if this is going to make sense, but sometimes when you zoom in, right, there's not as much detail as I would have liked to have seen. So the 3D sort of feels like a 360 level 3D art design.
Yes.
And I feel like it could have been
as a person who's blown it up into a big 4K screen, I can tell you,
yes,
it's very lacking in detail. Yeah, it's like it was built for a small screen.
Right, exactly. So when I play it on the 65-inch OLED, right, I can see those things. Yeah. So that's where I deduct another half a point, the visual detail is not where I would like it to be, and the music loses a full point because it's just. Especially when you know where Sonic is coming.
How about this, Everborn? How about the fact that like the Robotnik, when he comes out, because he'll come out and he'll like taunt you like he does in every game, he doesn't have a laugh, and that's one of the things that I'm like, shouldn't he have some type of sound?
Voiced characters?
Yeah, shouldn't he have some type of? Because I understand not full voice character like voices and stuff like that, but at least like if you see Robotnik laughing, you would want to hear an evil laugh with it.
So okay. Since you said that, specifically since you said the laugh and the voicing, acting, and all that, unfortunately, we must now transition to Mario.
Well, no, we will.
Because that's what struck me about the voices. But finish up your point.
I just want to finish this. So to me, I'm deducting a 1.5 points. Just audio is just not where It is, and I'm not comparing it to the rest of the industry. I'm comparing it to Sonic games.
To other Sonic
right?
games, yes, of course.
You lose a full point on audio, and
a
you
game
lose a
Sonic
half
has
point.
Sonic has a pedigree of having Michael Jackson being an audio producer because audio was that important back in the day. Sonic has always had some kind of like real music tie-in because music is super important to that franchise.
Blast processing,
I
baby.
hear you. I hear you.
So and you lose a half a point for some of the art design, but again, because some of it is like real. The character models are great, but the environment art is just, it leaves something to be desired.
I don't know. I think they struck a really good Nintendo chord with this one, but okay.
I don't though, and that's the thing, right? When you look at some of this stuff, it's like the texture work is just, it's just not what it should be. And this is me playing, Super Mario Deluxe, which is another 2D but with 3D graphics.
And you haven't even played Wonder. Oh boy,
I haven't played that yet. So now, but as a platformer and platforming mechanics in a 2D platformer space, this thing is amazing to me, right? Like, and it just gets better and better and better as you go, and the things that they do really put smiles on your face. And it's not like
chock full of secrets. I will tell you that.
Right, that too, right? And so, what I love is these power-ups. They're all optional, right? So you'll get it. You'll find where the bonus level is so that you can get the emerald. The emerald will give you a power that's not needed to progress through the game, but you can use it in certain scenarios. Even the boss battles, trying to figure out how to hit them and then learning you actually don't have to wait for that thing. You can just hit them as soon as you see an opening, and it usually always works. I just think they've done a really good job of building a 2D Sonic that takes us back to the quality of the Sonic that we love from the 90s. Now I want to see him take it to the next level, because I feel like what you're about to tell me with Mario is they're so comfortable in where Mario is in terms of a quality level that they can go and shoot for the stars, whereas it feels like this game was just trying to remind us all why we love Sonic.
Let me tell you what I told Boom before he started playing Mario, right? I said this to Boom on the phone, right? I said, I'm happy with where Sonic has gotten to, because Sonic needed to get to a certain place of righteousness, a place of quality. Yeah. And they are there now. Oh, you look good. You look good, guys. That's it. You got it. He's been messing with it. Yes. They've gotten to a level of quality that I'm like, yes, this is amazing, right? But in the battle where, who's going to have the quality product, Sonic versus Nintendo versus Sega in this realm, I feel
it's not even comparable.
I feel like Sega team has been chasing that new Super Mario Brothers U energy, which is this beautiful Pixar-like for a long time. And with this game, they finally caught that energy. They finally got it. They're like, look, this is our version, and it's beautiful and it's great. And all the while, Mario picked up the goalpost and took it to the fucking moon. They took it to the fucking. They took it to goddamn Jupiter. Is what they did.
I can't wait to play it, because I've just, while you guys have been talking, I've completed 2 acts of Sonic.
Oh, there you go.
And I'm on the 3rd act, whatever, the jungle thing now.
Okay.
And I agree with Paris. The speed
the speed is lacking
jarring.
a little. Okay.
It's lacking a lot. I can tell the secrets there. It's very Sonic Mania, but 3D.
Yes,
right.
I feel like
it's the best game since Sonic Mania, which is a good thing to say, because Sonic Mania was great. It's great. It's
not Sonic Mania is a great game, but and I also agree with you. I've got my almost 48-inch OLED here, and then I've got the Elgato Cam Link capturing it here. The textures don't look that great sitting so close. So
the bigger you see it, the more. Screen. Yeah, when you're looking at on this 8-inch screen, it looks great. But on a big OLED, you can see all the pixelation and the lack of But
and I think Sonic needs to strive for more, like Frontiers, but they need to. Mario is this is props to Nintendo. Ultimately, that war that behind John Wolfe, there is no war. Sonic is in a grave and Mario is somewhere in heaven, just
all right.
Look at that.
Let's settle down a little bit. Let's not go completely off the rails here. All right,
but Mario,
can we have that honest conversation? Can we have that honest conversation?
Absolutely, because actually, what I have to
Let's
say
do it.
will actually
okay.
surprise you, Paris.
Go ahead, Paris. You
Oh
start.
my god.
Go for it.
Oh my god.
Okay, again, and I'm not throwing shade. I'm just being 100
Keep it a
on
buck.
this.
We're keeping it a buck on here. Yes.
To Gaz's point, there's not a war. Mario is just on a different level than Sonic. It just is.
If you've played
Paris,
that game, you
let me
know.
say one thing real quick, Kay.
Go
Let me
ahead.
say one thing real quick. Now, we talked earlier about acquisitions and all that, and that's not what this conversation is about.
Oh
I
God.
would just like to point out the irony that Mario is exclusive and it's first party. And that is this and that is what I want for Sonic, because as an exclusive, as a first party, it would get the budget, time, and care that a Mario would get. And that's really why I drive for that thing. On a serious.
Okay.
That makes
That's a fair
sense.
point. That's a fair point.
That's a fair
Well,
point.
So
Well,
sorry
this
to
is-
cut in, but I just wanted to point that out.
No, but it comes down to this, and being serious for a second. Mario is an IP and a franchise, like we're talking Spider-Man's out this week, on that level. It's on that level where it has such brand awareness that goes beyond just us sitting here on the show or in the chat or on social media. Everybody knows Mario. And then when a game like Wonder comes out that is arguably on the level of Super Mario World or Super Mario Brothers 3 as far as a 2D platformer goes, that just goes to show you in the 40-year history of Mario, they continue to keep that quality level. We all know already when that next Switch comes out in 2024, and there's a 3D Mario at launch.
Oh, dude,
it's a wrap.
It is a wrap.
So
Everybody's
Paris,
picking it
up.
Paris, tell me I'm wrong here, okay? Paris, like we've seen many Mario games, we've seen many Sonic games. Like I have a shirt that has Super Mario Brothers 3 on it because to me that game has a special place in my
That's the greatest
gaming
game of all
pantheon.
time.
Yeah, that's
Greatest
the
game of all
GOATs.
time. I believe that Mario Wonder will have that shirt and people will proudly wear that as their greatest game of all time.
I'm
Like,
wearing that
it
shirt
is-
right now.
It is at that
figuratively,
level. I'm
because
telling you,
it's-
and it sucks
I've enjoyed
because I want to spend all this time giving Sonic its flowers because it's done right. It's done a lot of good things, but like to the point of a sound, for example, right? When the flowers start talking to you, when the flowers start communicating, like I don't even take my word for it. When I sit back and I watch my children first interact with it and the flowers start talking to them and they're like, oh my God, like my son Julian, like, oh, it's talking to me. Oh, you can do it. Like they are hitting on another level, man.
Someone did a mod where the flowers would talk to you with foul mouth. Like they
I need to do that.
Of course,
That
gotta
needs
do
to
that.
happen.
Of course they
That
would,
needs
yeah.
to happen. Oh my! But I gotta tell you, it is a transcendent gaming experience. Like they have done just the animations alone. Look at Mario going into a pipe. You have seen it a billion times in your life. A billion times in your life. And then, and remember, in the world we live, this is why, to me, this is so surprising. In the world we live where huge multi-billion-dollar companies are keeping their IP so close to the vest, they're so risk-averse, they don't want to upset the apple cart, they want to keep the money still flowing. God forbid you don't give the consumer what they want. To me, this was like them handing their mascot IP over the Bill over there in the corner that likes to do too much LSD on the weekend and went, hey, let's see what you can
Never
do.
did too much.
So
I
something
got
That's what
one
they
for
did
you.
here.
Yeah, Kay,
Go
this is what's interesting. I'm only, I don't know, 4 hours into Mario. And you made mention of him going into a pipe.
Mm-hmm.
When he's the elephant form, which is amazing.
Elephant
and he
Test
goes
Mario.
into the
Let's
pipe.
go.
He's plus size. So he's got to wiggle his feet to kind of get into the pipe. And it's those little finite points that you
Attention
look
to
at
detail.
and you're like, my
You guys are making my point for me, Boom. Okay,
No,
and
And I'll
that's
tell
where
you this.
you guys are all
I
making.
will say this live
Yes,
on the
you
air.
are. Yes, you are. And
Is
this
your
is the
point
point.
Sonic is dead compared
No,
to Mario?
No, that's
well,
not his
Sonic
point.
isn't
We'll
dead.
get
No.
there. We'll get there. Don't start that. Don't start that now.
Can
Go
I
ahead,
finish?
Paris.
Can I finish my point that I was
Please,
starting
by all
on that?
means.
Because again, when we talk about the 40, like it's amazing to think that Mario started out as a nameless character in another video game.
Yep,
That's how he started. He was Jumpman
Yes.
in Donkey Kong. And then we've seen just from every generation of gaming, every evolution that we've seen, Super Mario Brothers set the standard for platformers, right? Super Mario Brothers 3, in my opinion, was the pinnacle of this is what a platformer should be. We obviously got World. Then we got into 3D with Mario 64. Look, people give me heat because I don't think Sunshine was that great of a game, but a lot of people have love for Sunshine. But then we saw the next evolution of 3D Mario when we got to Galaxy, and then, part 2, and then here we are with Odyssey. You've seen these risks that Nintendo has taken over the years with this character, and they've built so much equity that they can do that and they can get away with it even when they stumble. But then they give you something like we just saw with Wonder. We don't even know what the next 3D Mario is going to be, but they're going to do something unique with that as well. And they do it like it was funny. Everborn brought up that Mario's a first party title, but it sells so well because Nintendo has always done a great job of fusing their IPs with their hardware, where their hardware does something unique that you're only going to do it on their platform, right? And we obviously run out and buy it. So to your point, Wolf, and we'll hear what you got to say, and I'm not trying to take away from anything that you're about to say.
No, you're good. You're good.
The difference.
Oh,
in
you're
my
going to hear what he's
opinion-
going to say. Go continue.
Oh, I know. The difference is Sonic was a response to Mario from Sega, right? And it never built the equity that Mario has done over his 40 plus years. To the hell, probably the second highest grossing movie now of the year is freaking Mario, because that's just how much equity he's built up. That's how much brand awareness he's built up. And they get away with it because the games have remained at a high quality. You have an expectation when you go into a Mario game, be it 2D, be it 3D, of quality.
Yeah.
And for the most part, they've lived up to that. And the truth of the matter is, Sonic has not replicated that. They've not over the years. Whereas I felt they have. Hold on, let me finish. Where they have that level of quality that you come in and expect. Some are good, some are not. I think Superstars is good, but there's been other games over the years with Sonic
that
that
were not good. That's right.
Yeah, I'm
2
like,
steps forward, 3 steps back.
Not so much.
Let me read the super chat. Well, okay. If you want to talk, you read the super chat first. Then read the super chat, then you can speak.
Just hang on 1 second.
Read the super chat
say
first.
that Sonic only fell off while he was third party.
There you
While
go.
he
Read
was
the
first
super
party,
chat.
originally it was always top of the industry, top technology wise.
I don't know about that.
Think
I
about
don't know
it.
about
We
that.
can
But
go
that
from
one-
the original Sonic
don't
to
think
Sonic
so.
Adventure 2 because that was the last time Sonic was first party.
Even
100%
all of
agreed.
those
100% agreed.
were top of industry when they
Completely.
came out in their time.
What?
Then they went to third party and it got crazy. I just want them to come back to first party so they
Super
can
chat,
start
sir.
delivering like how they used to.
I
Sorry,
don't
First
know.
party,
This-
but
Whoa. Let
that
him read the
first
super
party,
chat, please.
Who the company is?
Super chat.
you got to
I
show
don't
me the
know
super check. I don't.
It's
I
on
don't
the
know that Saturn
All
and
right, I'll do it.
Dreamcast Sonic
I'll do it
was
for
a
you.
little.
I'll do it for you. Grumpy Shaman with a $5 super chat saying Mario is the Floyd Mayweather of gaming. Sonic
Oh
is
my
just
God.
He's
a
not wrong.
roadkill you find on the streets.
Come on, man.
That's too much. I think that's too much.
So,
Give
again,
him back the $5.
That's a bit much.
Dreamcast had Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. And if we're gonna slander Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, I don't know what to tell you.
Well,
Right?
okay.
Oh,
So,
Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, even that, bro. Like, it might be a
So-
good game, but it didn't do what Super Mario 64 did, which was a paradigm shift. Like,
So I do-
Super Mario Odyssey is one of the highest rated games of all time. Like I said, that 96, 97 meta. It made you
So,
almost forget
right.
about
So
Breath of the Wild.
Third party
before
at
we
that time.
add Spider-Man to the mix, Mr. John Wolf, I know you've been chopping at the bit. Sir, okay, here's the preamble. John, much like Everborn Saga, is militant Sonic Sega guy. We know this, right? But unlike Everborn Saga, John had an epiphany. He went completely left, called me up, had me rolling on the floor laughing with this one. Here we go. John, After playing Sonic Superstars and Mario Wonders, how did you come away with it? Go ahead.
Okay, so as you know, Kay, on the PCMR side, we were playing Sonic and Mario. Okay, since sometime last week, and I'm playing both games at the same time, and I'm obviously I'm more excited to jump into Sonic because I was
which in hindsight is your
it.
first mistake playing it side by side. But continue.
Well, I wanted to do that because again, look, growing up in the Genesis Super Nintendo era, where I was at that age where gaming was becoming my main thing, these two things were life right here. Okay. Yep. And this week, I just want to say before anything else, it brought me back to like those years of my youth and just the joy of playing Sonic on a Sega Genesis and on a Super Nintendo and stuff like that. And that's why I've been so excited the whole week. But I did have an epiphany this week, okay? And this is what I'll say. Up until all this time, and all indications are leading to Xbox acquiring Sega down the line, because I mean the handshake is there. It's all but said and done. However, I do believe
it's in a document somewhere. I'll tell you that. It's in a document somewhere.
For sure. And this is where I lost Everborn completely, that he thought I was turning my back on him, and this is gonna sound
here's some traders talk. Here you go.
Traders talk. Here we go. If you want Sonic to get up to that level where Mario is, there's only one way that this can happen. It's not even by releasing games, because unfortunately the Sonic brand has been stained by things that Paris has brought up over the years, where they were third party, where they did have very bad games. So their reputation is unfortunately it's stained. Okay. So how do you erase all that overnight, instantaneously? Okay. Where Sonic now and Mario will be two equals when they're standing in the same room, and that's with Nintendo.
That's the
buy
only way that
Nintendo. If Nintendo was to buy Sega right now, all this conversation is over, because all of a sudden,
buy Nintendo.
All of a sudden,
horrible for the industry.
Listen, if Nintendo was to buy Sega, can Paris answer this?
Nintendo buy Sega.
Yes, Nintendo buy Sega.
That's actually a good point.
Okay, now I can go into the details of why this makes sense for Nintendo to do so, because the only thing I've heard the whole week is that Nintendo doesn't need to do anything. They could rest on their laurels. I disagree with that 100%. They're a couple of Wii U's away from things going bad, right? So they need to start thinking about how to diversify themselves and how to really look at the landscape of gaming where it is today, because this isn't even 5 years ago anymore, guys. This is 2023, the end of 2023, with Xbox that just acquired Activision, that just took off one of the biggest players on the board. Okay, and then you're gonna have people say, "Oh, but Activision and Nintendo don't even have anything to do with each other." It doesn't matter. You still can't be naive to the fact that this industry is moving in a different direction, and Nintendo has to start somehow future-proofing themselves in this type of way. There's a lot of limitations that they have as an organization, with as strong as they are, with as many IPs as they are exactly where Disney was prior to the purchase of Marvel and Star Wars. Did Disney need it? No. Disney was never going to go away, but they still acquired Marvel and Star Wars so that they can diversify themselves
and look how that's working out for Marvel and Star Wars
and reach a different audience. And that's where I can kind of see where a Nintendo Sega connection makes more sense for them than even for Xbox to acquire them. Now, in the conversation that we're having of the quality of the games head to head, I think everybody is 100% spot on, Everborn, with your kind of mini review of the game. Yes, there is this lacking. It's right there. You can just see it. I played through this thing twice. You can just see where they missed out, and where they missed out on this game is called the Nintendo Magic, Paris. That's where this game is lacking. If it had that Nintendo touch, this thing would be on the next level. There's hints of it. If you guys have played through the game and you've got into the world where Sonic becomes a pixel art Sonic, that stage is amazing. Okay, and that's the type of stage, that's the kind of thinking that Nintendo has done.
It's the drugs.
There you go. That's the dopamine hit.
LSD Sonic. Yes, I get you.
Yes.
I understand.
And that's something that Nintendo has down packed, just like Call of Duty has it, just like your many dopamine hits is consistent in the games while you're playing.
Mr. John Wolf, hold on. So your contention is, in order to take Sonic to the promised land, he must be on the back of Yoshi.
It's the only way that it's gonna erase. It's the only way that it's gonna erase this. I guess you can say this unsaid.
The Stankonia that has built up around Sonic.
Exactly. Okay. If you want, because the last thing I'll say, the times that you've seen Sonic and Mario together on a stage, like in those sports games, it's something. It's special. And I'm just saying. And the last thing I'll say is that it would just be a shame to gamers and gaming in general if you do not have a 2D crossover game with Sonic and Mario somehow. Who doesn't want to see that happen?
Paris,
I just find the conversation somewhat redundant. It's so weird to have this, like, it's almost an insult to have Sonic even matched up with Mario. It's like talking about who would win a boxing match, Mike Tyson or Stephen Hawking. Well, for one thing, one of them is alive, and then the other one is
man,
alive. He would not be winning any boxing match.
The other one is dead, and the other one is Stephen Hawking. No, go ahead, Paris, please.
No,
please. What are your thoughts, Paris? You're muted, sir. What are your thoughts on his idea? And you're muted in StreamYard. Your thoughts on his idea that this is the only way forward. He went to the promised land that was Sonic versus Sega, Sonic versus Mario, and he came back.
I'm real.
Changed man.
I'm keeping it real.
Now they need to sell to the Nintendo. What are your thoughts?
All right, so Everborn.
Yes, sir.
I do want to apologize in advance for what I'm about to say, but he just made my point for me. No. He is basically telling you, Everborn, that for the only way for Sonic to be relevant is for Nintendo to acquire Sega, and they bend the knee. In other words,
I didn't say relevant. Take them to the next level, to the promised land.
That's basically what you're saying.
Take them to relevance.
You're saying that Sonic needs Mario to be successful.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
Even Paris sees the disrespect.
Yes,
I know he agrees with it.
Hold on a second.
The disrespect.
Hold on a second, because this is where this is where we kind of where I have to disagree. I'm not Sonic is successful as an IP. He's been successful. He's transcended time. However, for us to enter a chat like this and for there not to be any Sonic slander, that team up needs to happen.
Let me say this. Take Mario out of it. You're saying that Nintendo needs to acquire Sega, sprinkle that Nintendo magic onto Sonic, and you're talking about team ups. Forget Mario. So we need Donkey Kong. I need Link. I need Metroid. I need Kirby. I need Pikachu. So Paris, that's what you're saying.
So Paris, this is what I told him. Right? I was like, maybe he has an argument to be made. I don't know. I want to hear his argument. But he's like, look at the scores. If this was a Nintendo game, it would be scoring in the 9s. But because it's not a Nintendo game, that's why it's scoring. I'm like, by that logic, Microsoft should sell Starfield and all of that to Sony. No. Because if it was a Sony game, it'd be a 9 right off the bat. It's like, what are you saying?
Not even We've talked about this for ages, but it's like, are we talking about the same Sonic and Mario? Like,
let me put it this.
So go ahead. Please,
bring it back.
Please, go ahead. Everyone. Yes.
Mario is Jay-Z.
Oh God! What
makes all the money?
God. What
he has makes the hits.
Okay,
that's fine.
All right.
Sonic is Nas. He doesn't sell as many records.
That is really disrespectful. That is disrespectful.
Doesn't sell as many
Get
records.
Out of here.
Doesn't have as many radio hits. But we know who's better, and we all know. Okay, so that's the first thing. Just because you make all this money doesn't necessarily.
Sonic at most is Ja Rule. I'm sorry.
Ja Rule, come on, man.
I give him Meek Mill.
Sonic is Joe Budden. That's what he is.
There you go.
What it wonder that said he gave up. Now we just keep talking about it.
Podcasting. But
somebody said Machine Gun Kelly. Come on, man.
Like how How dare you? Aren't you from New
wait a
York?
minute, wait a
You're
minute,
gonna
wait a minute,
compare.
wait
You're
a
gonna
minute.
compare Sonic to Nas. You're from New York. Somebody should walk out of frame and just slap you in the back of the head right now.
Yes.
I'll give you Common. Sonic is Common. There you go.
Oh, even that's disrespectful. Even that's disrespectful. Come on now.
Okay.
Exactly. Hit him with that again. Hit him with that again.
This is the last thing I say because I think we should move on from the Sonic.
I'm stealing that,
stuff.
bro.
One thing I will say. So, Gaz, that game is gonna hit for you because you seem like you're in the same place. It's fine. It's good. Where the game really took off for me is when I got to the casino level, and when you get there, it's gonna give you all of those '90s vibes. Like they really,
it's nostalgia.
They did a great job.
Is
Like
changing
really.
the game.
Really.
But it's nostalgia with also adding things that you would expect from a 2023 game. So just give it until that casino level.
Really fighting. He's really fighting.
I will say I was always in Sonic's corner. Me and my neighbor.
Damn right you are.
I was always in Sonic's corner, and I lost.
Boom! You're quiet in the corner, sir. You
So
also have played both of them.
Xbox console war. I cannot lose that.
You played both of them. Boom.
Gas cannot. Listen, I have played both, and look,
come on, tell me.
Bottom
Tell
line
me.
is
Speak.
Mario is on another level. It really is. I'm 4 hours in, and at every turn, even though I've been playing Mario games for since I was 15 years old when I got my first NES, it is. They just look. I'll put it to this way: back in the days, they used to have this thing called the Nintendo Seal of Approval, the gold seal.
Yeah.
It was in the right-hand corner of every cartridge box. Yeah, I see what you're doing there, Paris. And that
looks nice.
consistency
This is what we need right here.
has once again shown up. Mario Wonder, and what's bonkers, if you think about it, in the 2017, they open up the Switch with a Link, with a new with Breath of the Wild. We're all unbelievable. We're shocked. It's game of the year. It's amazing.
Hey, look at that.
In the same year, they bookend it with Mario Odyssey, which is probably by far one of the best 3D Marios. I would even say I'd even put up against like S64. It's one of my favorites. I like 3D Mario. That's another one of my favorites from the Wii U. But when they brought it to the Switch, I beat it again. Mario Wonder. When you look at the screen, you're like, how did these magicians make this? Like it's like you can grab the character out of the screen. It's so mesmerizing for an old man like myself that was there from inception to now. It's unbelievable, and really to think that you're going to get a 3D Mario follow-up for the Switch 2, whatever it's going to be called next year, is it's astounding. This game is probably going to win Game of the Year. And it's not going to be my game of the year per se. I mean, it's getting there, but it's just so good. But listen, I only have a few more minutes. I just want to throw my Spider-Man stuff in there.
Please, yes, throw some Spider-Man in there. Yes.
I just hit level 9.
Okay.
Paris, you said something in your review about the leveling up the powers between the characters. I think you were spot on. Where they make it separate enough where you can level up Miles, you can level up Peter, but there's something in the middle that you allow for the team ups, and I think it's brilliant. I think that's a great way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, does the game have bugs? Have I come across in my? Because I was up to 115 playing last night. I love it. Are there bugs? Yes. Have I come across a few that are egregious? Not. I haven't been stuck in a building or anything. I have had the web swinging just doesn't feel as responsive as it did in the other ones for me. Like I don't know what it is, and it's
which one are you playing with more? Because I know that
I'm playing with.
They feel different, obviously, because they have a different style.
I put it this way: Miles is way faster, man. I mean, even in the fights, Miles is really, really good. I mean, his powers are crazy good anyway. But I like to switch between the both. I'm kind of, because I love both characters, so I am playing. I would say, to be fair, as both.
Okay.
When I'm Peter, I don't know, man. It's just even as fast as Miles is, some of the aggravation that I have had is when I'm swinging, and I sometimes feel like the animations get stuck, like it stops me, and I go in the other direction. I'm like, I did not like, for instance, when I was chasing a car, which they had that from the other ones, obviously. You have to be quick. You have to get on top of them to hit the triangle button to get in the car. And there's been so many times where I was swinging around the corner and it would go to the right instead of to the left. And I'm like,
that's happened to me before as well, where it's like you're there's this locomotion that you're on, and then it just thinks you want to go one way instead of the other, and then it rubber bands you the opposite way. That has happened to me 3-4 times in a chase. You are correct on that a little bit. Yeah.
Where a building, like there's like you're swinging around a building and it clips because that building that you can't see it. I see the building.
Something is stopping you from continuing to progress.
There's an invisible something there.
Evermore, you said you wanted to say something real quick. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Somebody just DM'd me and said, "How could I sit here while I let people call Sonic the Freddie Gibbs of gaming?"
I mean,
that's great. You need to represent, son. They're gonna pull your Sonic card if you're not careful.
Well. He represents Sonic very well, but
them Sega checks won't come if you're not careful now.
I bought the digital deluxe edition. I bought the controller. My plates got canceled, which I'm a little disappointed about because I really wanted to change my PS5, but I'll get them eventually. I'm not going to spend $100 to $300 for plates. I'm just not going to do that. So when they're available, I'll buy them. I'm in the bag. I think what Ted Price and the team does, Insomniac, they are the tip of the spear for Sony's first-party studios. That is a fact. They are the workhorse of that entire PlayStation studios. This is another banger. This is another winner. One of the things
do you see this in Game of the Year conversations?
I don't. And it will be in my top 5 that I would imagine. My Game of the Year conversation, absolutely not. Not because it doesn't deserve it. I played this, and a lot of the things are very samey. If there's one thing that's going to drag down the score for me, it's I have now in 4 hours taken 7 people to the hospital. 7 different people, 7 different, because I like the side, and Paris is right. Like, I just got a side mission from taking someone from the hospital with fireworks. The guy got burnt. I had to take him to the hospital. He's like, hey, listen, you got to go to the docks, and there's some illegal stuff going on over there. And it turns into this other thing. I love that about these games because I'm a map guy. I appreciate
they're doling out quests in a bit more organic way.
I have a lot of the outfits. I think I have 10 for each so far. They are just god tier awesome. If you're a comic book fan, you gotta love this. And I am a comic book fan. For me, I've only played again 4 or 5 hours, give or take. I don't like really attaching the score that early. I want to be like I want to do what Paris did, finish the game and then give my honest score because I know I'm going to love this game because I platinumed 2018 and I'm 1 trophy away from platinuming Miles. There's a combo thing that I had to do. You had to get like a 100-hit combo. I just could not get it. And that's the only thing holding me up from the platinum on that. I'm going to platinum this game. I have not. I have put down Halo. I've put down Starfield. I've put down Motorsport. I'm trying to figure out a way to play Sonic, Mario, and this. But look, I want to close out. I'll close out with this. And this is for anyone that's listening. Yes, there are bugs. And there should not be. Some of the bugs that I've seen, I haven't experienced, but it's ridiculous. Some of them are really, really bad. I have not experienced that. I'm hoping that I don't. I got those same type of bugs in Horizon, and it spoiled the broth for me. I never went back because Horizon was egregious with the bugs, and it ruined it. I lost 3 different times hour-plus gameplay because of the no traditional save. All I say is save here, but I'll close out with this, gentlemen. What a week. What a 5-day week for gaming. Probably in my 40-plus years of gaming, I've never been more privileged than I am this week. We got new Halo Season 5 on Tuesday. We got a new Sonic, we got a new Mario, and we got Spider-Man 2. I mean, every platform is covered. If you are someone
And
that
the Quest 3 boom.
Oh, yeah.
well, see, I didn't
We
get
don't-
it,
we don't
yeah,
even
but
get
that's
to
a great
talk about
point.
that, no.
Yeah, I didn't get it because maybe sometime next year I'll pick it up. But for as gaming, we are more privileged specifically this week than we've ever have been because of so many powerful IPs that came back in a big way and represented the brand properly. Sonic got represented, Mario got represented, Spider-Man and Miles got represented, and so did Halo. It's and he got you see, and he got the Quest and
No,
I'm
it's
waiting for
PSVR
it.
too.
I'm waiting for it. I
I
want that
skipped it on
PSVR too.
PSVR because of what they did to me on PSVR 1. I
Yeah,
spent so
no
much
back
money there.
compat, right?
I can't. I
Yeah.
can't support Sony if they're not going to support me. But listen, gentlemen, I love you all. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here and hang out with you guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, Gaz. I love you. We got to get you on the show when you're free. And of course,
Thank you for
Paris,
being here,
whenever we
Boom.
get-
Appreciate you, brother.
We'll try and hook up and get you on one day or another. But gentlemen, I love you. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Take care.
And
Thank you so
Kay,
much,
he forgot one. Spawn is getting good representation right now in Call of Duty. It is
Yes,
a
yes,
love-
yes.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
yeah,
John
yeah.
Wolf, you're
Yeah,
a man
wild.
who loves old relics that are
Dude,
no
I
longer
love
relevant.
Spawn, dude.
So
Okay,
real
Spawn
quick,
as well?
go ahead, Paris.
I just want to elaborate on the one thing that Boom brought up about
Yep.
Spider-Man 2, because this
Yep.
is just kind of my whole point going back
I
to the
want
whole
to talk
bug
about the
thing.
Spider-Man. Yeah, let's talk about Spider-Man.
This is why I'm saying, go play the game for yourself.
Yeah.
Play it. Don't just rush through the main story. Explore the open world. Do these side stories. There are some fantastic Easter eggs and hints towards where this franchise is going
Mhm.
if you invest the time into playing this game.
Yep.
Yeah, there's clearly bugs in the game. We can do the tit for tat. Well, why didn't this site talk about Starfield with the bugs, or this one was too hard on Starfield and not hard on this one? You can do that crap all day if you want to, but it's a game that is worth your time to go play. Both of them are, since that seems to be the scuttlebutt here, is Starfield
Absolutely.
and Spider-Man 2. Both of them are worth your time. At this point, I probably, because of review stuff, I'm probably still around 150 hours into Starfield because I genuinely enjoy that game. Sure, there were some bugs here or there where I played it. So what? Same thing goes with Spider-Man 2.
Let's
There's
speak
some
on
bugs
that.
here or
There's
there.
a
So
whole
what?
lot of bugs in Starfield, but it doesn't
Yeah.
delay the enjoyment of that.
Exactly.
game.
And that's the
Paris.
whole point of you can play the game of Twitter and argue about stuff that you've not experienced yourself, or you can go experience yourself and have an educated opinion and go from there. That's
Paris,
all I'm saying.
has your opinion changed a little bit on Starfield since you spent so much extra time since that review? Or are you still kind of like the same where you were on that kind of funny video? Or has it like changed? Has it gotten better? Has it gone down a little bit? Where are you at right now with Starfield?
It improved because, like I said during the review, I played it to review the game. So I made sure I did everything because I wanted to be able to speak on it. So that's why I said it was great, but it was a 4 out of 5. There are still things about that UI and system level things that I don't agree with in the game that I think they can improve over time. And I'm pretty sure they will, because we've already seen some mods that have done that.
Yeah, I've done
But
exactly that. Yep. Absolutely.
If anything, now playing the game, and I have not played it as much as I want because I'm trying to review 1,000 different things at once,
Mhm.
but now just focusing on what I want to focus on in New Game Plus, I'm having an even better experience. And I've seen, I think, what is his name, Nico or whatever, what he did with the outposts and his nuclear powered and all that. I'm like, this is insane.
Mhm.
I want to do stuff like that. I've seen some of the ship builds out there. I want to go do some of that stuff. So yeah, Starfield's a great game. Is it going to be for everybody? No, because no Bethesda RPG is for everybody. But if you're into that style of Western RPG, you're going to have a great time with it. And I think, again, the nitpicking and the gas giant nonsense and all this other stuff, it's just dumb. It's just dumb.
Hey,
just go play the game for yourself
Paris.
versus arguing on Twitter.
Paris, I will add that no game really, or no piece of art really should be for everybody. Obviously,
Exactly. 100%.
things are going to sort of pick their niche, and some things have a broader audience, but I don't think we should all go into any game expecting like, well, I love Starfield, so everybody has to like it. Same thing goes for Spider-Man. Some people might not be into Spider-Man, and I think that's fine too. And I get your point. I think ultimately my thing is let everybody talk. I'm gonna eat popcorn, but I'm gonna play all the games while everybody argues over it, and I'm gonna laugh at the jokes because it's funny.
Yeah, and like, to the point, because Gaz is here, and I love Gaz. Gaz loves to, I call it dumpster diving. He loves to dive
He swims
into
in the
mud
sauce, man. He swims in the
and
sauce.
make
I do too.
videos
I do
and
too.
have fun with it. Hey,
Yes.
I view it, but I don't participate in it, right? I see what's going on. I get it.
I
Some of it's funny.
I call
Yes.
Gaz the Dave Chappelle of this gaming thing. We need him
Yes.
to
That's
do
an honor
what
I
he
do not
does.
deserve, but
Yes.
I will take it. I do not
I
deserve
laugh,
that, but, yeah.
and to my point, I laugh at a lot of that stuff.
Yes.
I think some of it's funny, but then I think some of it's ridiculous because I think some people go way too far with it.
Happens
But
easily.
it's like I even saw a comment in the chat just earlier. It's like, well, PlayStation games aren't held accountable. Who cares? At the end of the day, who cares? What do you need it to be held accountable for? What is that going to do for your personal enjoyment? That's what I always come back to. I don't care. I care about what I enjoy and what I want to play. And I don't understand why people care what other people are saying about a game. Again, Everborn is the classic example of this. He loves him some Sonic. He don't care what no one else thinks. We can call it the Freddie Gibbs of gaming all we want. He's still going to play Sonic. Because that's all that should matter. The same with Starfield, Spider-Man, and anything else you want to throw in there. It doesn't matter if you are enjoying the game. I always use this as the analogy.
I understand that, and I agree with you. I think a lot of people misunderstand. Yes, I'm a console warrior. Yes, I've been Xbox console warring for years. You talk about Sega and Nintendo. I was console warring with my neighbor, and my testicles hadn't even dropped, and he had a Nintendo, and I was on the Sonic side, and look what happened.
Traitor.
You have to understand that we care. That a lot of his emotion is sports teams. It quickly spills out to personal stuff. Has happened with me as well, and that just happens. That is a negative outcome that will be inevitable.
Well, but you have to understand that's what pushes certain people away from all of that, right? We can have fun and we can do the dozens and all of that, and that's fun. But the minute it gets to that place and we're all adults here, then it goes too far and then it rubs certain people the wrong way. Go ahead, Paris. What are you going to say?
I do think there is a value. You might laugh at this, but I think there's a value in the purity of that rhetoric in terms of the console war. And I strive to find ways to make it more inventive and make it more funny, slightly different in terms of being creative in the manner in which I present it. But I also like the pure back and forth as well. It just gets silly. I even today announced that I want to do a podcast where I have a one-on-one between and just PlayStation ponies and bots and just go back. And the idea is once you have those conversations, some of them might get really awry, but generally I think it will serve to actually calm hostilities down so people understand tonally. When a lot gets lost in translation in text, but when you speak about these things, then it'll be okay. So I will always be a proponent for console warring. I will always be that fanboy, and I love doing that. But a lot of it is entertainment value. I will never change that. But I think there's that says a lot about our medium, that we enjoy it so much, that we care so much about.
Oh yeah. There's definitely there's 100% is a passion out there, and I totally love and respect that. Like, just bring up this point again. This is why I don't think there should be review scores. I think there should be opinions. Read the opinion that the person is saying, or watch it, or whatever the case may be, versus getting upset over the number. Like, obviously, again, Starfield is the great example of this. People point to IGN giving it a 7 out of 10. Stop worrying why he said 7. Read what he said, because he did have valid points of criticism in his review. Did I personally agree that it's a 7 out of 10? No, I did not. But if you read what he said, there are valid points in there. And that's all it is at the end of the day, is an opinion that you can use as a guide towards your purchase, or you could just ignore it completely.
Let me just add a little bit of color to what I think. This is kind of a response to both what you're saying, Paris, and what you're saying, Gaz. So I do think it's super important to engage with, people you disagree with, right? Because, it's that whole broken clock is right twice a day or whatever. But I think when we sort of when we look at someone that is saying something that is just seems completely stupid to us, but they're super passionate about it, there's something there. And if we just write it off as that person's crazy, sometimes they are, and you do need to write it off because they're taking it to like a weird, like disrespectful place, which again, Paris, I know you've seen this. For me, right, when we come here, we joke around a lot, but we still like to have those conversations. But to Gaz's point, I think that part of the community and that passion, I think it's important, and I think it's important to understand what is behind that, right? So I try to engage with everybody, and if anyone follows me in these Twitter or Triple X streets, they'll know I try to treat everybody with respect, even the people that I think have terrible takes. But I like it. I don't want to be in a place where we're in a community and everything has to be sort of serious all the time. Let people, you know what I'm saying? Let people make those jokes, right? Like I said, I love following J-Dub. I love following King David. Let that stuff live as long as people are not, you know, talking about family or making personal physical threats and like, you know, embarrassing themselves, things like that. I don't know. I love the community and I love all the parts of it, and I love calling out nonsense too, right? That's all part of it, and I think it's great, and I think people should be able to sort of partake as much as they want. And to the 7 out of 10, Dan Stapleton, Paris, you know, I had been on a diatribe against why do we care so much about what anybody says if you have the game in your hand. You know, I agree with you there. The only thing I will, not a pushback, but just to add some Caribbean spice to what you were saying, is nobody was complaining about the complaints he had in the review. They were complaining about the 7 because they thought that 7 didn't line up to what his review was saying. So again, a lot of people didn't read the review because people don't read.
And that's
right?
the point. But, yeah, that's the point. Yeah.
But I think they're not disagreeing with what he said. They read it and a lot of it makes sense. They just didn't think that that warranted a 7, and that's where that came from. I just wanted to say that for the people, because I know people are thinking that, and people usually lash out when they feel like no one's listening to them, and that's what I try to do. I try to, you know, put some of that into words where we can.
So okay, let's round out this conversation and let me ask the question: Who's winning the first month sales between these 3 games?
Sonic.
I'll start with no. I already know you. I'll start with you there, Mr. Gaz. I already know where you're going there, sir.
It's not even a competition, since an insult compared.
even against Spider-Man.
Yes. I again, people might think that's latent bias, but one, I played Spider-Man 2018. I thought it was horrendously derivative. It's almost like Stray syndrome, in the sense that you put a cat in there and the gameplay is just pretty basic. The open world, the stealth sections were horrendous.
So you're not a fan of Spider-Man, the original 20 Spider-Man.
I thought 2018 was massively overrated, just like I thought Ghost of Tsushima was underrated. They should swap the Metacritic scores for those 2 titles. So again, it's not for me. Other people do enjoy it and they love the traversal, and I think the traversal and being Spider-Man is so important to them that has such a big play in
the wingsuit changes things up, man. The wingsuit makes life like on that thing. You're basically Superman. You're flying. It's crazy. It is something else. I hear you though. If you're not a fan of that kind of gameplay method, if you're not a fan of 2018, you won't be a fan of this. That point that you make is very apt. Believe it or not, I kind of agree with you in certain respects. I love the game. I think the game is amazing. I think it's like, I'm a Marvel zombie. I love comic books. I've loved Marvel comics from a long time ago. So these characters make a lot of sense to me. They're changing the story up. They're doing different things with the story that's really interesting to me. You know, unlike most games, you come here specifically for the gameplay, the story spoilers and the cinematics and what's going to happen to these people, and I think that's super interesting. But as much as I'm liking this game, and I love this game, I think it's great. It's really, really, really good. To me, the bugs thing is overblown. I played for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. I did get a small bug, but nothing that's ridiculous. But as there more bugs show up, I'll let people know. It is what it is. And this is Insomniac we're talking about, right? If it's the way it is today, give it a month. It'll be spotless. This is Insomniac. Calm down. Insomniac will do you right. They've proven themselves. It's Insomniac. Calm down. So to me, that's not a problem. Where I do think there will be a little bit of contention is, much like, and this is my humble opinion, and you can throw the virtual tomatoes at me, much like in the sense of God of War Ragnarok to OG God of War, well, to the remake of God of War Ragnarok, I feel like there's a lot of that here as well. Whereas, the first Spider-Man took all the energy out of the room because it was so different and so special, and they recreated it, and it looks really good. And this is a lot of exactly that great baseline, and they've added a lot more to it. But because the baseline so well already, it loses its shine a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong in that. It's kind of like, yeah, this is good. This is really good. But it's a taste I'm used to. I've already tasted this before, and it's more of that good, the same thing. But I kind of feel like if it gets Game of the Year versus, say, Mario Wonder or Starfield or something, I would kind of be like, I don't know, because it's the same thing with Ragnarok. Again, my opinion. I loved Ragnarok and I love this game. I just feel like this is not it's not bowling people over because it's a known commodity. There's a lot of known, like, you can play the game and see the same animations you've seen when you do one of those finishers. There are more finishers now, but some of the old finishers are literally in there, where you can literally hit the finisher and it's the same finisher you saw in the 2018 version, right? It breeds that sameness for me a little bit. I could be wrong. Paris, I know you spent some time on this game. You've beaten this game. Am I ridiculous? Tell me I'm ridiculous.
You're ridiculous.
Okay.
You told me to tell you that.
well, if I'm wrong, unless I'm wrong, unless you don't think I'm ridiculous, in which case,
No, I mean, my thing, I guess, going to the original question of what you're saying of the three, and I assume we're talking Mario, Sonic, and Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man, yes.
Yeah. You're saying what's going to have the biggest sales in the first month? That's the question? It's going to be Mario. Because if you really think about it, Mario has the Switch has the biggest install base. PS5 is actually smaller than the Nintendo Switch at this point. And yes, Sonic is multi-platform, but for everything that we've already talked about on this episode, it is not going to be up to the level of the other two when it comes to the awareness and people want to go pick it up. So no, it's going to be Mario. Mario's going to have the biggest sales just because of the quality of the game. And again, just a bigger install base that's going to have access to it.
What do you think of my thought on the known commodity of Spider-Man 2? Some people are throwing accolades at it, and I think it deserves it. If you're new to Spider-Man 2, if you watch the what happened before to catch yourself up, and this is your first Spider-Man experience, it is gobsmackingly good. But if you've played through the first one like I have, and the remake like I have, and Miles Morales like I have, it kind of, the rose is a little bit off the bloom here for me. Even though it's still great and the story looks like it's hitting on all cylinders and the cinematics look like it's going to give you what you want. I know you've played far more than I have, but I kind of feel like it is Blood and Wine rather than The Witcher 3 fresh. You know what I'm saying?
To me, and I said this during the review, I'm coming into it for everything that you said. I've played 2018. I've done the remaster. I played Miles Morales and a whole lot. So coming into this, I played on amazing difficulty. It wasn't so much that the game was difficult and I felt like this huge challenge to it, but I am so invested in the story at this point where I want to know where it's going.
Where they go.
Obviously introducing the symbiote. So Peter with the symbiote, Venom is in the game, right? Craven is here. I'm invested in this. The rest of the Rogues Gallery that shows up, I want to know what's happening. I think integrating the characters that we got during the Miles Morales story into the overall big story that we had in Spider-Man 2 mattered to me. So for me, it wasn't so much of, well, you're not doing enough new things. It was, I'm already invested in this. You've now refined what you started with 2018. You introduced the web wings, the traversal through the open world, things like that. You've taken lessons learned from what worked in 2018, what didn't work in 2018, what worked in Miles, what didn't work, and you've kind of integrated that into 2. Look, there's still some things in it, and again, I don't want to spoil nothing, but there's still some things in it that I'm not 100% happy about, that I still don't necessarily like. But for me, this overall Spider-Man, Insomniac Spider-Man is like, I am Spider-Man. I get to be Spider-Man. I get to do the cool Spider-Man stuff. That's what brings me into it. Not to mention, this story has tugged at the emotional heartstrings for me at certain beats. I want to know what happens next. And again, no spoilers. When you get to the after credits and you see where they're going, not to mention some of the side stories telling you where they're going, I'm excited for that because I want to know how it pays off.
I hear you, sir. I hear you. No, that's good. That's really good.
Yeah,
That's
so
good.
I think
Go ahead,
to
everyone.
me, Paris, tell me if I'm right or wrong here.
Mhm.
You know, Spider-Man and Miles Morales left us wanting more, and this is more, right? So
Yes,
it's like,
yes.
give me more of that.
More. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Please, thank you. Take my money, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
the question
Lord.
is,
Uh-huh.
the
Go ahead.
question
No, go ahead.
is,
I'm listening.
like, are we at the point where Spider-Man has worn out its welcome in the style of game that they're delivering? And I don't think we're there yet. So as
No.
long as they can do more of that, I think they're fine, and the game is gonna do well because I think they're telling an interesting story. The first time I played the new Spider-Man, I think was in 2021 when they did the remaster, and then I played Miles Morales right after that. So I'm excited for this, and even if the boundaries aren't pushed, you're giving me that style of game with Venom in it.
Yes.
That's enough. Right?
Yes.
So, and I haven't played it yet, but I'm excited to play it. But Sonic is still gonna win. I said that to say Sonic. Is gonna win.
So
Go ahead.
Sycamore in the chat some time ago asked me, can we please, after this episode, stop doing this battle of Sonic versus Mario? And I said, you know what? I hope we can too, as long as Mr. Everborn Saga will just relent and just step away, step back, understand that he has lost. For if he continues to move forward and wanting to see the receipts,
No,
this battle will
DCP has become the show of pile up on Sonic.
No,
I
it has not.
understand. It has. That's what everybody comes in to do. They just except for John Wolf.
What did
Even
I
though John
spend?
Wolf is over here switch siding, but it's okay.
What did I spend most of the first half of this show doing? Trying to throw flowers at Sonic because I think it deserves
Yeah,
it.
but it was always with Mario in the background. We saw it. It's okay. It's okay. But I agree with Sycamore. Let's move on from the Sonic bashing and let's get back to what we love, which is
Paris. I see you have something you want to say. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Okay, you're asking, so I'm gonna say it. I wasn't gonna bring this up because I'm just reading your chat. People think, I guess, my opinion says that I'm paid to have that opinion about Spider-Man. It's like let me educate the chat and anyone that's watching this later on how this works. So if you're ever quote unquote paid by one of these companies, you have to disclose it legally. The same with the company as well. That's why you see #ad, #sponsored, things like that on tweets. An opinion is my genuine opinion. So I always find those hilarious because what you're basically saying is you're questioning my integrity when it comes to that stuff, right? That in other words, I can be given something that's going to sway my opinion. Absolutely not. And that's why I say again, when I see those things, you clearly don't watch my content. Clearly you don't watch my content because when something needs to be criticized, I have absolutely no problem criticizing it because I'll take you back to when The Last of Us Part 1 came out. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous that they charged $70 for that. No, they shouldn't. People got mad at me. There's things with Xbox that I've criticized. People get upset. Oh, why are you saying that? You're supposed to be supporting Xbox. Why are you criticizing it? Because I love games. I don't care what platform it's on. And I'm going to just give my honest opinion, no matter whether you agree with it or not. Just like I've seen people in the chat saying they didn't care for Spider-Man. Gaz said he didn't care for Spider-Man. That's valid. And I think Everborn, you said it yourself. Not everything is meant for everybody, right? So just because I like something doesn't mean you need to like it. But because I like it doesn't mean that my opinion's been swayed. Or if I don't like something, that doesn't mean my opinion's been swayed. That just means that's what I think about the game. So I always find those comments hilarious. And just when I see in general people say, oh, YGN's bought and sold, this, that's bought and sold, I always laugh because that's not how it works. You may not like what they're saying, but that doesn't mean that someone's bought and sold because they have a positive or a negative opinion about something. So I'm sure the chat disagrees with me, but that's just true.
Oh, it's gonna be the back and forth that happens all the time when it comes to some of this stuff. Specifically with IGN and all of that, and more often than
I agree
not,
with Paris as well.
Yeah,
though.
I
do agree with that.
Yeah,
The whole
go ahead,
notion
yeah.
of get rid of review scores, because ultimately that's weaponized way too much. Despite the fact that I join in console wars and I use Metacritic as a litmus test for all of that and weaponize it, I myself don't issue review scores for my own reviews. What does that say? Because people don't read the substance of the review. So this is the problem with, and also I will say, like, whilst they were still important, these journalistic bodies and IGNs and all of the big guys, they're waning a little bit in their, quite a bit in their relevance as far as how people's buying habits are concerned, because it's shifted towards content creators more. But they're still important. The Metacritic's still important. Companies still look at them. Phil Spencer will look at the Metacritic of these games, just like Shuyu Ishida does, and celebrate those. But ultimately, look, I don't like Spider-Man 2. I think it's overrated. I do think it's overrated. People like it. That's on them. That's same thing with Starfield. A lot of people think Starfield's overrated. I really liked Starfield. I still think the score is absolutely fine. I think a lot of people get very angry about, oh, Gaz, why do you think it's okay to be at 84? I'm like, didn't push the needle as much as I thought it would, or it should have, or we were led to believe. But it was still an excellent game, good for Bethesda, good for Xbox, and the nuance is lost. And Twitter is not the place for that nuance. So just enjoy the gutter game, because one, the character limits, two, you have this disconnect between what you're actually saying and things that get lost in text and translation, and three, I just don't think a lot of people have the intellectual capacity to actually sit down and engage in earnest, which is why it's you're not going to avoid it. It's also intrinsically our nature as human beings, man. We are very tribalistic in our nature, so you're asking the impossible sometimes. So it's why I embrace that. And when I compare this discourse compared to some of the horrendous things that are happening around the world, it's just like, oh, okay, well, there's just not even comparable. So I enjoy the gutter game. Just like Paris, like even with Paris, I've given Paris a hard time on Yellow Chair Gang and stuff. I'll always say, I know you and Asa don't get along, but I know I've always said, look, I've had issues with you, like just that preachy stuff. But actually, I take it back a lot of the time, more than anyone in this space, from someone off that stature with your kind of funny games and stuff. You always engage with everyone. You always chat everyone.
And I appreciate you saying that. And I think that's kind of the point. Like someone was saying, I'm too sensitive because I'm reading the chat. The point of it is this: a lot of the people that you watch content from, consume or whatever, they will not be on the show. They would not respond on Twitter. They would not have a Twitter Spaces where you can ask anything. The point that I always make is, I do not think my opinion is any more valid than anybody else's. I've literally started in the community, and I've been extremely lucky along the way to have the opportunities that I've had to meet the people that I've doing all that stuff, right? So I come on this show, I go on other shows and have these conversations, and we'll try and see something in the chat and try to correct it when I know it's just simply not true. Because I to your point, guys, I know how the sauce is made, right? I know what happens on the back end. So when I see things like that and I go, well, that's not true, because believe it or not, a lot of my contemporaries, we have these conversations and we laugh half the time. Like, bro, that's not even true. That's not even how it happens. Like again, you bring up the cyberpunk chair thing. I always find that one comical because I wasn't the only one that got that chair, but I'm the one that gets all the shit for it because I will actually engage with the community, right?
Absolutely.
And I will have these conversations, and I will try and say that's ridiculous because it's just an opinion. Why are you so upset over an opinion? It's just his opinion. It doesn't matter. It's just a number. That's the whole point of all of this. So no, I'm not sensitive about the chat. I just see so many incorrect takes in the chat that I'm trying to say, here's the reality of what's really going on.
Everborn, let me interject real fast. This is because
Go
I've been listening, and I think everybody's like had amazing points, and like this is just my perspective on like this whole conversation as a whole. And Kay, we felt some of this a few months back when it was scary to even mention No Man's Sky and Starfield in the same breath. It's like if you even mention that in the same breath, all of a sudden, oh, what are you doing? What are you talking about? And it's like I think Paris, to the point that you're trying to make with the whole opinion thing, it's just that we're just like anybody else. We're gonna come on these shows and we're just gonna say what's on our mind. Like today, I'm saying that Nintendo should buy Sega. I'm not saying that that's the correct answer or
that's because it's the wrong answer.
Well,
sorry,
but still, I mean, it's just something that I can kind of see happening, and I can see the strengths of why Nintendo will want to do that, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I see this across the board always on all the shows that like on all the podcasts that I listen to, Paris, including yours on Gamertag and of course GCP and Gaz, especially your show. I mean, Gaz, they flip on you on a daily basis. One day they'll call you a pony, the next day you're an Xbot, so and the thing is that at the end of the day, I think that we're just very passionate about this medium and gaming as a whole, and there's just some people that just take it that don't have the I guess you can say the intellect and the maturity. You know what I'm saying? To have like a conversation like this. And the thing is though, Paris, and this is me while saying this, I'll also get into the Latino heat and the pettiness of it, because I engage in the pettiness a lot as well. It's just because I like to have fun with it, not to like the extreme natures of these other people. I think the problem that I've seen as a whole, and I've really like looked at it, and I've like dissected this, is that a lot of the responses that you get, like what you're seeing a lot of Spider-Man now, is just an exaggerated frustration that you see, because, for example, people just want consistency and people want the same energy to be given across all games and the whole medium. Now, of course, we don't live in a perfect world. There are biases, there are preferences, there are different things, and I think that that's where the problem comes in. Really, where the root of the problem is that people just want consistency, and we're not seeing that across the board. So, like for example, sometimes I'll be reading a review, and I'll see that they dock a game for certain things, right? And then I can see the same review on another platform, and I'm like, wait a minute. So what's the difference here? Why is this game, quote unquote, a higher score than this game? So that's why you do make a great point. I think that's the best point you made all day, that honestly, the review scores is what's hurting. Okay. And not that you haven't said anything else good, but I'm just saying the review score, that number score is honestly what is hurting everything here, because at the end of the day, 100%. Everything that gets said gets thrown out the window. And I think that that's the big problem. Why you see, the retweets of the constant Spider-Man bugs, it's people reminding you, keep that same energy. Now, is it a little extreme? Would I spend my whole day doing that instead of playing these great games? No. But there are, I guess, some people that feel, hey, this is my way of getting back at them. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of
So, gentlemen, I think we've put it out into the air. Some of the people in the chat should know that if you come into the chat and you antagonize some of the folks that have been lucky enough to get on this show, you will be blocked. I will snipe you, and I will not think twice about it. And I have empowered all of those other blue folks that are in blue in the chat to snipe you as well. And when they do, we will not feel sad for you. So please keep it respectful, right?
Can I say one?
Go ahead, Paris.
Can I say one thing on that, just real quick? The passion and people having different opinions, that's all fine. It isn't even a thing about, oh, you need to agree with me and all that. Hey, as you would say, Gaz, kumbaya. It's not about that. It's when the stuff turns personal. That's when I check out, where I'm like, okay, I don't need to be here. What are we doing? Just be respectful for it. But because look, I say a lot of dumb stuff. I will continue to say dumb things.
Paris, I apologize. I did not correct this before. I have corrected it now. You are one of the blue buttons. You can snipe on your own, sir. Please snipe away.
I'm blocking I'm blocking everybody. No, I'm
Please snipe away. You are empowered to do so.
Be
We can
warned
talk
now. If you say something positive about Sonic, you're gonna get banned. 'Cause now we get the wrong.
No, you got to
person.
promote that person. You got to promote them to mod status.
But you know,
Nah, but it's just
we
a
can have
thing
difference
of-
of opinions, but we got to keep it respectful, please, Paris.
I
go
get
ahead.
that, but I fall foul of it, Paris. Like, if someone genuinely, I don't like them, and normally, like Nick must say, I make fun of his bald head, but that's because he started with me. If someone starts with ad hominem, then I'm raw. So he started with making my voice. I was like, all right, you gave me carte blanche, I will fuck you up. And then that's my rule. But you have to be a horrendous person for me to really go to that level. And there's some characters in this space that I have, but I'm from the streets. This is how we do. We always handle the beef like this way. But there is always a lesson of learning, and I can hold my hand up and say, you know, there was a guy that I had beef with. No, one good example, Strictly Gaming. He came at me, but he wasn't actually raw at me, and I went hard at him. It's like these guys. He basically said he didn't know what you're talking about, and I was just fully lasered him. And then Blaze reached out to me and said, look, he's actually a really nice guy. Talk to him. And I said, look back. I was like, I went full scores before I gave him a chance. He was console warring, to be fair. But we talked out, and he's actually really nice, and his friend was really nice, and actually regret it. Like, all right, we squashed out in the background. This shit happens, man. But I will not change. I will not change. I will fucking keep being the toxic piece of shit. I'm joking. I will just... Paris, my only advice is, like, as someone who's kind of in the middle of, like, the only thing, it's not even advice, you're probably going to take it a certain way, is when I have no issues with what you say, but it's when it comes, I'm just telling you what I feel. Yeah. So just not telling you what to do. I'm just explaining to you what I felt like.
Say what you got to say and stop qualifying it, man.
I have to provide this because it was going to sound so much. When I see the be better, that stuff, or don't do that, it's just first my mind is like, bro, why are you saying that? Who are you? Two, how does that make a difference? It's like telling me calm down. Like, it's not going to make me calm down, bro. It's going to make me double down. Like, you always do that positive thing, and it vexes me. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. And I'm just like, why does he do that? Why does he do that? And
because it's not just to you, but go ahead, Paris, please.
I know, but I'm just explaining that is what, like, a lot of people will say. Now, I know you and Ace have beefed about the whole thing.
So allow me to retort.
Yeah, okay.
I know that's not going to change minds. I know that's going to make some people double down, but that's my opinion. And that's why I say it.
I know that.
So to your point, it's not a thing of I'm trying to say that I think I'm better than anyone or whatever, or you need to do this. You're going to do what you're going to do. But that's how I feel about about whatever the situation may be. Typically, when I'm saying let's be better than this, and I guess I can't curse on here. So when I see some really dumb shit online, when I see someone saying something really effing dumb, that's when I say that, or doing something really dumb. And again, I'm not going to say any names, but I'm sure people can, 2 + 2 is 4. They can figure it out. When I see someone that is a quote unquote Xbox fan tweet about how buggy and terrible Spider-Man 2 is over 40+ times within a few hour period.
Hero.
Let's be better than that, please.
Bro, if you're going to say that, okay, can I ask you this question? When you say be better, what do you think the likely success chance of that, someone reading that and saying, you know what, Paris is right, I'm going to be better. Do you think hold on.
Give me a minute. One person.
Give me a minute.
No, let me say this, and you can say that. If one person sees that and goes, you know what, maybe I shouldn't tweet this because maybe that is dumb, then it worked.
Okay,
that's
fair enough. I knew you were going to say that. But
one thing I'll add to that, there are many lanes on this highway. There's many places that people talk, right? The spaces people talk. There's lots of levels of it, right? You get your J-Rock levels of talk, right? You get your meme retorts, right? But within that same space, there are people who want to have introspective conversation, who want to keep it to the topic at hand rather than all the ridiculousness around it. And they also must be allowed to live in addition to all the other crazy talk. So when I hear Paris throw out there what he's throwing out there, I see that as he's speaking to those who possibly want to hear that, who need to hear that, right? If you don't need to hear that, that's you. Like, you continue doing you because it works. But some people need to hear that. Definitely. Some people definitely need to hear that because they
I
go
agree.
too far.
The whole
with it.
thing is fascinating to me. Like,
Yeah.
how do we reconcile that? I look at it objectively. I'm like, what? And I knew Paris's answer was going to be that because he's a clever bastard. But
It's not about Mario versus Sonic today. It's Paris versus Gaz here.
No, it's about
It's not even
the
versus. I'm just
community
trying to-
itself. That's what it's
Spill my
about.
heart out. That's
No,
all I
but-
was
but-
doing. Just explain it.
But let me give you another example, and I'm going to say a couple names here when I say this. So, like, Gaz and I have had a running joke now. God, it's about a couple years that, hey, when you show up to E3, we're going to fight in the parking lot, right? We've been saying that forever. But obviously, you haven't been able to make it. So, just at this last LA Summer Game Fest thing, I'll just take Colt Eastwood as an example because Colt is my friend. The same as Oh No Alex is my friend, and I may not agree with some of the things that they post online. Because look, Colt, as much as I love Colt is in the mud right there with Gaz. They like thick as thieves, right? Alex obviously does his videos and, makes fun of people and all that kind of stuff. But we have conversations in person and I know the person and we're friends. So I've had people that get upset. Well, why are you following this person? Or why do you respond to this person? They console war. Why do you care?
Yeah.
Don't worry about who I follow online or who I decide that I want to be friends with. Do you see me doing it? No, you do not. You have no idea what conversation I may have with that same person offline about. Because again, I'm just because I love Colt. All the time, Colt. I will DM Colt, dude, bro, why? Why'd you do that? Come on, really? Seriously? Stuff like that. So just because you don't see it for public consumption doesn't mean that a conversation hasn't happened. And it doesn't mean that is not a genuinely good person. So you brought up a name before it. I think it was, again, I don't want to name names, but there's a person that has personally attacked me. Personally. Like, don't even know me, but has said personal things about me or whatever. And then, Gaz, you may or may not have DM'd me about that same person saying, hey, they would love to have a conversation with me. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I didn't know that was the case, though.
Yeah. So, and I found that comical. It was like, you'll act one way publicly, but then you'll act a different way privately. And this is why I can't take any of this stuff seriously. So bringing this all the way back around, Gaz, to your original point, that's why I'll say, come on, just be better than this, because it doesn't matter what I say. No matter what I say, someone's going to have a problem with it. So I might as well just say what I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because that's what I think.
Absolutely.
I don't genuinely think you are genuine. I think the beef that happens and you trying to be better, I'm just trying to explain how it gets misconstrued. But I'm also like fighting your corner with that. And like, with me and Ace, I said, no, he's not that bad. Like, he's not that bad. Like, and same thing with Colt. Colt was like, when he met you, was like, Paris actually lovely person. Like, he's the best.
Saga.
So he mentioned some people from
something to
IGN
say.
may not have been that nice, but he said Paris is actually probably sung your praises the most out of everyone at that event. And I understand that. Look, I've had beef with like King Thrash, but I reached out to King Thrash when there's Gas Giant Gate, and even though we had mad beef, made a rap video and everything, and I said to him,
it's a gate now. What are we talking about? Jesus Christ.
King Thrash, I reached out to him and I said, look, I know we had beef. I could read out the DM. I did it on my Go Live show. I said, well, we had beef, and we probably always have beef, but don't take it to heart. Because the human part of me was like, I could see this weighing down on him. But he was strong about it. He said, no, it's cool. And he reached out to me recently about this Palestine stuff, because that was really dragging me down.
Right.
And I really appreciate that. And there's beef. There's some people, in my opinion, are pricks. They might think I'm a prick. But generally, like, if people get to sit down and talk to each other, I think they'll be okay.
And that's the point. That is the 100% point. It is amazing what happens when you actually meet people in person versus fussing online. Completely different narrative every time. So,
Everborn Saga, what were you saying?
To a couple of things, but
Sorry, Case Nutty. This has become into
Oh,
something else.
no. It's an organic show. It needs to grow where it needs to grow. I appreciate that. Please.
We're all kumbaya and we're hugging now.
That's right.
No, but King Thrash is cool. I talk to King Thrash in DMs every now and again. Like this is my thing. I know what he does and what the personality is, but who cares, right? But what's it called? I think at the end of the day, right? People will say, well, Paris shouldn't say this, or why is he saying that, or whatever. But the same way you can express your displeasure in what the media or what Paris says or what somebody is, and you're free to do that, why is Paris not free to express his displeasure or his enjoyment about everything? So the whole thing is, right, you're not, just like Paris is not the council war police, you are not the police of Paris's word.
That's right.
Right? So
I
my
love the
thing
way you
is,
put that there.
the way I look at all of this interaction with the community is, hey, let people enjoy things, but also let people not enjoy things. So you don't have to, unless Paris is coming on your timeline under your comments,
to disrespect you or whatever. Yes,
right. It don't matter what he said, or leave
the man
his
live.
timeline alone.
That's right. Let him live. That's right. Exactly.
And the same. So this is my thing. You've expressed your displeasure. Now he's expressed his displeasure or his pleasure or take on something. That's fine. Everybody's got an opinions. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got them. Most of them stink. So the thing is this.
He knew he was gonna go there. Yes, sir.
Just my whole thing is, everybody, it to me, it's just this sign of weakness where you feel like everybody has to like the things you like or dislike.
Yes,
the things you don't
and
like.
that's the point.
And so, let people have their opinions. So
I can give you a classic, a perfect example of this.
Okay.
Exactly why Sonic is smacking him down. Look at that.
Stop it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I give you a great example of this. So I posted what I think will be the Game of the Year nominees, right? And one of them is Sea of Stars.
How dare you not agree with me?
People are losing their freaking minds over the fact that how dare I have an indie RPG in there. And again, I go, because I most times I don't read the comments, but every now and again I go peek in the comments, right? It gets personal. Why? Who cares what I think? Make your own list. You don't have to agree with mine. That's just what I think.
I think probably because they think when you come out with the list, they go, oh, he might be one of those people that gets to decide what comes on Game of the Year. So that obviously means, they're extrapolating.
A caricature of you.
Well, I do have a vote.
Yes.
No, I do have a vote.
Yes, but that's 100%. Why I think that's why people extrapolate.
So
if
now
they don't
we know why
their
Sonic
game,
won't be nominated.
You see. So in other
I know
words,
Sonic's on that list.
In other words, when we see Paris's list on X.com and we don't see Sonic in there, that's why you see John Wolfe and Everborn Saga with the picket signs going, see, this is why it's not going to get Game of the Year, because he's not putting it on his list. This is what's happening, right? To a larger extent, but to whatever.
Got some Don King shenanigans going on right now.
That's what's happening right now.
So, someone just brought a sports analogy in the chat. Let me clear up something real quick. Okay. Someone just said, how are you a Buccaneer fan? You can't understand why opposing fans are unreasonable. Because I am a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. I have dealt with 40 years of losing, so I am numb to all of that stuff. Look, when the Bucs are good, look, a couple years out of 40, when the Bucs are good and we win the Super Bowl, I'm all in. When we look like we just lost to the Lions last week, I'm just like, okay.
Yep, fair weather. It is what it is. That's right.
Yeah.
Zay360 with a $5 super chat. He asked an interesting question. He said, curious on the panel's opinion, do you feel like 3 Spider-Man games in 5 years is too much too fast? Paris, what are your thoughts? 5 Spider-Man games. Three
no, because one of them was just supposed to be an expansion.
Sure. Okay.
It's DLC now.
Cut it out, man. Cut it out.
We don't even want to get into that.
You know where he's going with that.
I just think it's a defunct AAA. This is my people think that this is my ire directed towards PlayStation exclusives, and I keep saying Wolverine. Look at me being excited for Wolverine. I really want to see Insomniac push the needle there. Well, in terms of divergent game design, but Spider-Man is Spider-Man, man. It's like the same Sony are doing the same thing, and I'm not excited. And I'll say that about God of War Ragnarok. 95 meta, massive hit. This is 91, 92 meta, massive hit critically. And I keep scratching my head thinking, well, when will the reviewers and the industry actually demand a little bit more of exploratory, like risk-taking? Because I don't see it at all in the AAA space. Even like Hellblade, it looks nice, it's doing its own thing, that's fine. But after Starfield, I'm just this massive question mark around that AAA space. So for me, 3 games, like for me, as like in terms of the console wars, I don't even think Spider-Man makes that big a difference anyway, because Microsoft just secured ABK. That is wildly more interesting to me, and what that can possibly produce. If it doesn't, still status quo, and if it's just COD, I'll be pissed. That's all I'll say.
So I mean, what I'll say about Spider-Man real fast, K, is that I mean, when dealing with Insomniac and giving them their flowers, because I mean they're one of the best in the industry, and especially coming through clutch big time for PlayStation right now. But in when you look at Insomniac's history and the diversity of games that they have, the one that stands out the most to me is Ratchet and Clank, where they perfected a formula and then they just iterate on it, you know, every now and then. And that's what we're seeing in real time here with these Spider-Man games, where they've got into a place where that template is, I guess you can say, so refined for them that now it's just going to be copy paste as we go on in that Spider-Man franchise, which
I don't know about that. Copy paste connotation is a little bad there, sir. I wouldn't say copy paste.
I disagree with it, man.
And it's not to throw shade at it. Hey, I bought it. I have it downloaded. I'm ready to go. But the thing is that again, it's not to diminish anything that they're doing, and it's not to diminish the title. But that's pretty much what they're doing here. They're Ratchet and Clanking the Spider-Man franchise, and that's not a knock on it. It's just
iterating on the formula, is what you're saying. Okay, right. I can see that. Oppo, $5 super chat. Hold on, let me reply. Let me get the super chat out here. And thank you for being here, Oppo. He says Paris definitely gets gaslighted. He's criticized for his takes, and when he engages with the people who have dialogue, he's then called sensitive. Also, Sonic is king. See, I had you. I was with you. Until that last statement, then I was like, he lost the thread.
Smart,
he lost the thread.
Well-rounded answer.
He lost the thread. He lost.
Make him a mod. Make him a mod.
And I will say again,
he says on my channel, calm down, you.
No one does. Well, that's what changed my mind. Like, I always see you in the spaces. I always see you on Sean's show. So you on Dirt's and everything. And people say it's sensitivity. I'm like, and I'm observing. I'm like, let's see, Paris is this soft piece of whatever, or is he actually being forthright? And I sat there, listened to it, and I was like, everything, he's fighting his corner. What can he do? If you're guilty, if you don't engage,
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
You're just resigned to being guilty all your life.
I'll say this one thing, just really quick on that. I do, and I don't do it as much anymore, but I do spaces that I'll host, and I bring up everybody.
Yeah.
Ask me whatever you want. So again, if it's sensitive or I'm not engaging or whatever, I give anybody an opportunity to ask me whatever they want. And again, I don't think my opinion's more valid than anybody else. It's just my opinion. And I've just been lucky enough to have a platform where I guess people pay attention to my opinion, you know, and some people like it, some people get upset. That's really it. You know what I mean?
And for some reason, I think that because you are at a certain level and people see you, they feel like 100%. Your opinion is more than others' opinions, which is something that's weighted more than others, which is wrong, right? You have an opinion like everyone else.
In there as well. Let's be real. There's a lot of jealousy and animosity as a result of jealousy.
Let me read one more and we'll move forward, because I have one last question I want to ask y'all before we quell this episode for today. And of course, first off, Hargeet Chani with a $5 super chat. He says, let's throw Everborn Saga and John Wolf a bone. And then he puts a Sonic Superstars code in the chat.
My man.
And then,
why waste your money like
that? My man. That's what I'm talking about.
You're rich.
And
don't waste
then
money.
In parentheses,
Hargeet is a real one, Everborn.
And then in parentheses, he says, Mario's still going to win with a smiley face. It is what it is. Now, because he said that, I will also say, if you have been paying attention to the chat, you will notice that in addition to the one he just left, I have left, let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4 parts of the final code for another copy of Sonic Superstars. The final part of which I will drop right now. So if you get it, please let us know that you got another copy of that. Salute to the great Hargeet Chani for adding to the pool. We gave away 2 copies of Sonic Superstars today. the game that will not beat Mario if it tried. Even if Mario didn't wake up in the morning, by the time he wakes up, he's already lost. It is what it is. He needs all the help he can get.
We'll see
Enigmatic
what Matt
Dreams,
Piscatella has to say
$5 super
Let's
chat.
go. Let's
He
go.
says, how dare people have their own opinions? For instance, I think buy Capcom over Sega. Resident Evil FTW. Also, this is still my favorite podcast of all time. Oh, brother, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
He
for
saved it with that last sentence, but with that Capcom thing, I was going to time him out.
You're gonna
What's gonna
time him
happen?
out.
You saved
Stop
yourself.
it. So okay, we've had a lot of conversation about the battle of the ages, which is Sonic versus Mario versus Spider-Man. We've also talked about the gaming community and how y'all need to grow up sometimes. Clearly, people need to grow up. It is what it is. You'll notice I'm in the background with popcorn. I listen to Gaz because Gaz is just about that smoke. So when I'm in the mood for some smoke, I go to Gaz. Otherwise, I'm just sitting back with the popcorn watching people fight, right? And Everborn Saga loves lying with the dogs and catching fleas. So every once in a while he'll call me up and I'll be like, "Oh, them fleas is getting to you, aren't they?" It is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. But the gaming community is for all aspects, right? If you're there for gaming, it's there for you. If you're there for the war of the console, there's room for you as well. I have no issues with it. For my part, I just say keep it above board. The whole, mess at people's families, talking smack about people's, when you get into a certain level where you upset a grown ass man, you're losing the thread. Calm down.
I do want to move on because I think there was
Let's
some
move
other
on. Yes,
news topics, but
yes, I have one topic that I want to talk. But yes, what were you saying?
To put a pin on this,
Mhm.
for me personally, I engage with the community because I love all those parts of it. I love the technology talk that you and I have, Kay. I love the sort of introspective and sort of tinfoil hat talk about what we think could happen in the industry. And I love the jokes. I love the back and forth and that whole arguing about who's the better team and all that. All of that stuff is fun. And I think there's a time and a place for all of it. And there's also room for people who don't want to engage in the different parts, because some people don't want to be serious all the time. They just want to joke. And some people want to have those serious discussions and they don't have time for the nonsense. So it's engage with it sort of as you want. I do think there's room for all of it. What there's not room for is personal disrespect. And listen, the end of the day, this is the number one rule, and I think this will put a pin in this whole thing so we can move on. Speak to people as if they were close enough to punch you in the face. If you do that, then we can have any kind of conversation you want.
Gaz, stop it. That's not what you do. Because if that was what you do, you'd be punching the face all day, every day, sir.
That's exactly what I'm saying. If I say something to someone, I mean it. If they're in front of me. Just remember that.
$5 super chat says 3 successful black men on the panel. Y'all not saying bias on anything, somehow did not get affected by game journalism, just like confused. Developers, including Bungie. Yeah, that confuses me as well. Let me
I don't know what that would mean.
Yeah, that confused me as well. 3 successful black men on the panel. Y'all not saying bias of anything somehow did not infect games journalism, just like developers, including Bungie.
I think what he's trying to say is, you three. What about brown person?
I think it was a compliment.
You have 3 black people who are successful. So as a result of your success, let's be real, you have to overcome certain difficulties imposed on black people, and then you're saying that there's somehow, despite the fact that you're successful, you can't acknowledge that there's any bias in journalism. And I don't know what that has to do with race. I'm trying to save the super chat, man. He's paid $5, man. I don't know what to do. I don't know what that means. Buck, if you can say it in chat. It's on my show. Why am I doing this for you? Fuck you, Santi. I don't know. I don't know what he's trying to say.
All right. So are we talking about these Starfield numbers or what?
Is that what it's about?
All right. No. I'm changing the subject. K Sante disappeared. He's been kidnapped. So,
It's gone.
did the Starfield stuff surprise anybody? Starfield number
Nope.
one, even
Nope.
though it's in Game Pass.
Not at all.
Nope.
Not
No,
at all.
why would it? Why would it?
No, because I was told that subscription services, day and date AAA games are, and I quote, deleterious to the gaming industry. And
So, first
it
and
will lead
foremost,
to a race
who-
to the
Colin
bottom.
Moriarty.
who gave you
Yeah.
that big dumb
Dumb.
word that you are using?
I think deleterious is like an $8 word. You know,
Yes,
on
it
a
is,
$10
but
scale.
but for
It's
the
a good
purpose
word.
of this conversation, it's a dumb word because it's not.
No, it doesn't matter
necessarily-
who said it. I'm just saying.
I don't know.
Use that
We're
word.
not.
I'm
We're not
just-
calling names. I'm
Okay,
not calling
okay,
names.
okay. I hear you. I
It
hear
sounds
you.
it sounds like the macroeconomics worked out for Starfield, if you ask me.
Oh,
Okay, so I'm just saying.
How you gonna do?
All
price
Are we,
I'm
hike?
are we
saying
still
is-
slanders right now? We still
Okay,
being
you know
slanders?
what? You want me to name a name? Jim Ryan. Jim Ryan said it's value
Oh,
destructive.
yeah.
He
That's
said he's
just-
value
That's a
destructive. Yes, he
neutral
did. Yes, he
name that
did.
we could all say.
Yes, he did.
right?
Yes, he did. Okay,
Um,
okay.
Fair
So
enough,
this
fair enough.
idea that a game being day one in a service is detrimental to the gaming industry and it doesn't make sense for AAA games to do it is false. And it has been proven false time and time again, but people have been able to lay on the fact that, it didn't hit, these things didn't hit number one. Starfield, a game that was available day one in Game Pass and has only been available since the beginning of September,
Mhm.
is the 7th highest selling game of all of 2023.
Which one's the first?
This is
So
Quick
yeah.
aside.
Hogwarts Legacy.
oh,
Still.
God, there's no justice in the world.
Yes.
What?
Can I just
This-
switch
this
that
man.
question and then
Go
how
ahead,
do
go
you
ahead, yeah.
reconcile that
Mhm.
and with oppose this Paris? You're friends with Phil. Phil Spencer also in the court hearing said that, and this 2027 deadline has been suggested that, if in his discourse and his internal emails, he said that if by 2027 we don't see a major uplift in, I think the metric is Game Pass subscriptions, then Xbox needs to change its strategy. Now, is Starfield just an exception to the rule because it had a lot of years in the working, or what do you say to Jim Ryan and your Colin Moriarty's and all those people who think that this is not sustainable? Is that argument dead?
So first, I will say, I listen to everything. So the thing that I think you're alluding to is the Brad podcast, whatever Colin was just on there recently,
Yeah.
and I listened to his argument about Game Pass and why he doesn't think it's sustainable, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
He has some points that I agree with, some that I do not. So I just want to be upfront about that.
Mhm.
To the point of what you're asking me, it's still TBD as far as is Starfield a one-off or will we see that sustained success? We should. Hellblade 2, Avowed, Perfect Dark, things that are coming in 2024, South of Midnight, things like this that are adding value to that service will tell the tale of the tape. Whereas if they can now be consistent with content and quality content in Game Pass and people still aren't subscribing to it, then they probably should pivot. Honestly, if we get to 2027 and now they're hitting their consistent roadmap, and that's the key to all of this. If you do not have consistency with the
Exactly.
content, none of this matters. So let's just say, for argument's sake, they now from 2024 on, they are now consistent. The Matt Booty or release every quarter starts happening. Third-party supplements, indie games, all of this is consistently happening. And we get to 2027, and let's just say they're under 50 million. They should pivot. 100% they should pivot. At that point, people are telling you, we don't want a subscription service for gaming. We want to buy our games. That's what they're telling you at that point.
But
So
we're not there
that's
yet.
how I look at
So
it.
let's
Yeah,
just
we're
wait
not
and see.
there yet.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
to your point, let's see. Now the fact that you are most likely at some point going to see Call of Duty as a part of that, right?
Yep.
You're going to see them give incentives on the PC side for things like World of Warcraft and Overwatch. Like all these things are going to potentially start happening in the next 12 to 18 months on that service. If that's not enough to push it over to get more people to adopt it, both on the console and the PC side, not to mention whatever they do with mobile, it's a wrap. Give it up. Do something else.
Well, Paris,
You've invested the money into it. You've put the content in it. And if people still don't support it, then it's time to pivot. 100%.
Well, Paris, I think that's a great point, and I think it leads to a greater conversation here, and that's the way that us as consumers have kind of digested the games media all of our life, right? So, like since the launch of any game system, it's been really simple. You buy said system. You purchase games, by walking in the store. Back in the day, you would walk in Toys R Us, etc., whatever. When we moved into this digital age now, it's the same thing where it was a la carte type of world where we live in. That's what the most of consumers that consume games are used to, because that's how we have been trained as consumers our whole life. So this whole subscription thing is something that is completely new, and I always use the barometer of friends and family. I have two cousins that had no idea up until last year what Game Pass was. Okay, and these are your regular Joe Schmoes that buy their Maddens, their NBA 2Ks, etc. the world. So I think that if there's one thing Microsoft and Xbox has to do better is market to those types of individuals to understand what Game Pass is, because I had to explain it to them, and then they saw the value of it. As gamers, we know the value of it. So I think that what's really going to be successful for them is how well they can kind of train the consumer going forward as, hey, the subscription service is the new future. The way that you're now consuming music and movies, for example, let's push them towards that way. And I think that that's slowly but surely, it's going to happen. We've already seen it be successful in two mediums, so I don't see why games is going to be that much different, to be honest with you.
And that's what they're betting on. That's clearly what they're betting on. But it just comes back to the fundamental point. The Game Pass has been around since, 2017, I think, at this point. But it just comes down to this. You have to have content. If you do not have content, people are not going to subscribe. We're seeing that on the entertainment side with Disney Plus and Netflix and all these things. If you don't have content that I care about, then why am I subscribing to your service?
Bother?
So
that's right.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
and
everyone.
it means
What's your
marketing
thought?
as well.
Let me just say this, right? Again, my thing is, I understand the cynics, but at the end of the day, what we have seen, right, is these subscription services, and if we're going to compare it to the movie industry, it has led to more creativity, because in the old model, the sort of mid-budget movies were going away. You in the theater right now, you can only make an indie darling or some franchise IP. So it's like superhero or super low budget. And we've seen a lot of the more creative projects that don't fall into that narrow space, which is super cheap to make or established audience. So you're basically playing to tropes because you're spending so much money. Because remember, Sean Layden told us the existing $200 million game model, that's the thing that's not sustainable. The former head of PlayStation told you that old model is not sustainable. So if you care about creativity, right, which is what a lot of them say they care about, this is a way to ensure that you have that creativity without worrying about having to speak to the broadest possible audience.
So are you saying that they need to put the toothpaste back in? Like they need to constrain budgets beyond where they are now?
I'm saying people are talking out both sides of their mouths, right?
No, I think Alvaborn hits the nail on the head there, actually. Game Pass has transformative in the fates of many indies and AA games, in the manner in which we discuss games, in the manner in which we talk about in the PlayStation store, the indie needs an indie store, but if you sequester it into its own little section, then it won't perhaps get its own limelight. But with Game Pass, we've seen the likes of Vampire Survivors become this big meta thing, or even a game that I don't like. What was that? Crow with which I completed but don't even remember. Death's Door. Like that thing.
Like
all those kind of games.
That's
I wasn't a fan of it. It was okay. But I didn't think it was Game of the Year material. But that was just me. But there's loads of games like that, and this is why. And people think it's the fanboy in me, which is I'm a creature of my own design here. But really, Game Pass is incredible for that. It's rejigging that. I always say AAA is not where the source is. It's AA and indie, and Xbox is changing that. And Xbox is at the head of the game. Sorry.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. I see the super chat, and I know what it's potentially going to do. So I want to cut it off at the pass real quick. We've talked about it. Talked about it. But I appreciate your super chat, and I appreciate you being here.
Freddie Fox's one.
Black Ronin 357 with a super chat, with a $5 super chat saying, "I want everyone to keep the same energy for all platforms. Bugs in Sony game is downplayed, while bugs in Xbox game is magnified, is a disaster." We agree with that to a certain extent. Yes, it's true when one is downplayed over the other, but the ultimate point is, if you like your game, what does it matter? No one's chewing your food for you. You know, let the industry let them talk the smack they want, right? Starfield doesn't have to be a 7 out of 10 for you, right? If it's not a 7 out of 10, the people that think they are 7 out of 10s don't necessarily speak for you. So, you know, it's not as all serious as all that, but I'm sure. Go ahead, everyone.
No. I don't want to we appreciate it. I just don't want to. Yeah. I just want to kind of finish this thought out. Just
please,
really quick.
Sorry, go ahead.
So my point is, even if we look at Martin Scorsese, arguably one of the greatest filmmakers ever made, his last 2 films would not get greenlit under the existing model.
Sure.
Right? So he had $200 million ideas in his latest film with Leonardo DiCaprio, Killers of the Flower Moon, and then the film before that he did for Netflix.
The Irish, right?
The Irishman. Both of those films cost $200 million to make, and he had to go to where? Streaming services and Netflix and Apple to get those made. Yes, Killers of the Flower Moon is coming out in theaters, but that's only for a couple of weeks until it goes to Apple.
Supplement, right?
Mm-hmm. So again, right? Does it make sense for a GTA Online to go into a service on day one? Absolutely not. Right? But the platform holder is the one who is to do the job of putting the AAA games there, while also removing a large part of the risk for the developers who are trying to make creative expressions. Because I'm going to tell you a secret. When you spend $200 million on a game, you have to make that money back. That's before you get to marketing. And then you have to turn around and make sure you're speaking to the broadest possible audience so the game begins to feel the same. So I'm saying all this to say what Game Pass allows for is a game like Starfield, and it's there for the people who want to buy it, and we see it at the top of the charts, but it also allows for the games like Pentiment. And those games like Pentiment can now have a million audience, or a Hi-Fi Rush, which can have 3 million players and things like that. So if you care about creativity, I think, and this again needs to be borne out, but the evidence right now is that this is not lowering the quality of production. What the evidence right now is that it is giving you a wide breadth of different genres, and people are able to creatively express themselves without fear for studios closing down. So to me, Starfield and the other successes before that, because remember, Payday is also on the top 20 list for September, right? So is Sea of Thieves. So is Minecraft. So is MLB, right? Are those games destroyed quality-wise? No, they're not. So Game Pass does not destroy quality.
Never did.
Game Pass, again, is not stopping people from entering the charts against games that are not in the service. So I think we can put that to bed. Anything else is fear-mongering. It is not based on the facts. So you can use all the big deleterious words that you like, but the facts don't tell you that. And what really is happening is people have decided that this is the way it's always been, therefore that's the right way. And I don't think that that's the right way to think about things. You have to actually look at the numbers and actually look at what's happening instead of just using big words. And then I'm off my soapbox. I'm sorry.
Everborn, you mean Ken Kutaragi didn't write that in the Bible of competing in the games business? Really?
I want to piggyback off of what he just said, because he actually you hit on all the points that I wanted to bring up. Because like you brought up Pentiment as an example. I also throw in As Dusk Falls is another game that thrived because it was a part of that service.
And I never would have played that. If
exactly. But I do want to flip it to the other side of the pendulum, or however the hell you say it, when you think about a game like Immortals of Avion, or you think about Callisto Protocol, games that were not a part, new IPs from basically new studios that had a high budget that a publisher took a chance on, but because they did not get their immediate ROI, they're not gone, but they're basically gone. Huge layoffs happen. Will we see sequels to these games? Probably not. So to your point, I would like to, at least Microsoft is trying to disrupt. They're trying to be disruptive here. They're trying something new. They are taking a risk with Game Pass. No matter what we would want to think about it, let's see what happens by the time we get to 2027, because to your point that we've already seen on the other side of the entertainment industry, basically the middle class is starting to go away. And there's so many amazing quote unquote middle class games. I'm talking AA games, be it independent, be it come from, a major publisher, that we're not seeing anymore. And if they aren't immediately successful, they go away. Whereas at least you even heard Phil just say it on the official Xbox podcast. The leadership team they're going to King right now. They're going to go to Activision and Blizzard here in Southern California as well. But they're going to talk to these teams. What are you passionate about making? Because what I think it has happened with the industry, and Call of Duty is actually a great example of this when we think about Activision, whereas they've taken studios like Raven and who were made a game like Singularity, right? They don't get a chance to make those anymore because they've now been told that you are a part of the Call of Duty machine because that makes the most money and that's what finances us. So you got to keep doing that versus letting these teams chase a passion project. Again, Josh Scheuer at Obsidian is a great example of this is what Pentiment. Pentiment does not happen if Obsidian was still independent, right? Or if they were part of EA or something like that. Whereas because I think what Phil said was, you get the most out of these teams when they do something that they're passionate about versus them telling you where you're making this, right? So maybe Game Pass allows some of these 30 plus studios that are under Xbox Game Studios now to chase passion projects where we get something unique, where they can take a risk, where it's not, they have to be uber successful out the box. Double Fine is another great example of this. If Psychonauts 2 came out as an independent Kickstarter, it would have been half the game that it was.
Yep.
And if it wasn't successful, because I have no idea what the numbers are, I'm assuming it wasn't that successful. Double Fine probably isn't doing whatever they're doing right now.
Yeah.
They may not even exist right now. And that's a damn shame. So here's where, sure, you have your detractors that do not like Game Pass and say it's bad for the industry, but we don't know that yet. And I would rather at least see them try something new.
So to your
that
point,
we still have one second, so that we still have the middle class games that come out that do something unique, that does take a risk versus the cookie cutter AAA stuff that we just get over and over and over again.
So I just want to bring up that super chat because this speaks actually to that point right there. He says, "Hey," and this is Freddie Fox, $5 super chat. Thank you for being here. He says, "Hey, wait, I'm effing confused now. So we're calling Phil a liar when he says Game Pass is already profitable and sustainable. Why are we still questioning it? That's that BS."
I mean, he said it under oath. I mean, whoever thinks that's just ridiculous. But the thing that I'll say is that, okay, so no corporate hat on, just as a games fan. I never thought that we would live in an age where a company was bringing so many games to a service, to a low monthly cost service, and there would be people complaining about it.
Yeah.
It's crazy
Why do you
to
think
me.
I do what I do? I'm the righteous one in this
This is
space. You
crazy
see?
to me. Okay,
It's fucking great.
from being the chunky little Latino heat kid, begging his mom, okay, to take him to Blockbuster on a weekly basis just to be able to rent one game.
Same.
Okay, and I would probably rent Ninja Turtles over and over again because I spammed the hell out of Ninja Turtles. All right, I can't believe that we are actually in this reality where people are saying they want the service to go away.
And people complain.
just crazy.
But you're not. You're talking about Twitter. They don't
Colin
represent the real
Moriarty's
world.
got a big
It's a
platform,
small-
and he seems
it's a very
as
small-
a scourge.
Small.
He seems as a scourge.
niche.
You've talked to Colin Moriarty. He's a big platform holder, and he is vehemently against a service that.
But you think that his reach is even half as big as Twitter itself, and Twitter itself is a teeny tiny morsel of the gaming environment.
You have to give your flowers. He is one of the most prominent voices.
Sure,
in
but
that.
not
He's
as
one of the
big as
bigger ones.
Twitter. But I don't care his numbers.
Twitter's not a
He's
hive
not
mind, but essentially.
But that's my point. The number of reach, right? Because whenever you hear Twitter's blowing up, you go, oh, they're a small number. They're the small minority that are speaking loudly. Like Colin, and I take no disrespect to Colin, but to your point as to what he's saying and what he's out there, his reach is a small subset of the potential reach of Twitter, which we've established itself is a small, teeny tiny, minuscule part of the gaming industry. So
we're
his
essentially
voice
talking about the discourse
doesn't
around
speak
it
to the
and the
whole
dissenting
thing.
opinions about it. But he's a focal part. He is a vocal part of that discourse around it. If we were talking about whether or not it's sustainable, we have to talk about the detractors who are countering it, because all of us in this panel are actually. It's a shame he's not here, because then we would rebuke him or whatever, or counter him, or he can offer his view. But all of us here are in unison that Game Pass is sustainable.
But you know what it is, though? This is my problem. I want someone or some entity of a larger subset, like when Jim Ryan says that it's not sustainable or it's value destructive, right? Because he is at the time was a platform holder himself, it made it important to analyze what he's saying there and take him at his word and go back and forth and debate it, right? I don't think a Colin Moriarty or even like IGN or any
Jim Ryan then.
Let's
take Jim Ryan then.
But exactly, Jim, okay. And with respect to Jim, then you talk about the context of why he says what he says and this and that, and you can tease out why he is where he is. Exactly. I don't think that a Kind of Funny or ILP or any of us that are within this, and I don't even speak to the big ones. They're all they don't have. No, I don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we don't have a baseline to talk about. I definitely do, but I feel like they don't deserve, because they don't have that big ass effect as we think they do, because we just pay close attention.
Who does?
That's my question.
But Kay, I think that the thing is that like the pundits that I've heard kind of against Game Pass, the common theme that I hear is that Microsoft is the only company that can do this. That's the one thing that they all agree on, because they're like, oh, they can afford to bleed money and keep bleeding and keep bleeding and keep bleeding.
That's
ridiculous. And to me, that's ridiculous when you even say that, because at the end of the day, Xbox as a business needs to be profitable. They cannot be just an expense for Microsoft.
That is a false narrative that's being peddled, and whenever we interact with it, we make that narrative more realistic than it needs to be. Go ahead, everyone.
So here's the thing. The fact is, the whole reason we're here is to talk about these things, and this is a narrative that goes on within the community. So we're just voicing why I think that doesn't make sense. And I think part of the problem is whenever these things get said, whenever these things get said, nobody really pushes back on it. And so
sure, okay,
if you want to clip what I just said, then clip it and play it back the next time that thing gets said. The point that we're making here is, and I think we need to call a spade a spade. I wish that we could have an honest conversation, right, about these things, and then we could debate it back and forth. This is not about everyone on the panel agreeing with me.
Sure.
You've seen some of the people we've invited. You've seen the people that I want to invite. I'm happy to have that discussion.
Sure.
But if we are being honest with ourselves, all of the pushback that we've seen against Game Pass has effectively boiled down to Sony is not doing it, therefore it must be wrong.
Facts.
There it is. And
right?
that,
and
ladies and gentlemen, Everborn, speaking facts. I just wanted an excuse to play this music.
And you have to, and Everborn, to add on to your point,
It's bigger than
you
hip-hop.
you gotta really pay attention to who is that's trying to say these things. It's
This is why I'm trying to
Sony.
bring Colin into it.
It's Sony that and PlayStation that wants you to keep on paying $70 and wants you to keep on believing that the only way to get a quality product is if you pay more for it. That's
Yes.
a company that's telling you that. Okay,
Until
and
they
then number
change,
two,
and then they start doing it, and then all of a sudden the drones start changing their minds
But
because
here's
you
the thing.
said it.
Absolutely.
I want to add. I do want
And
to.
I got a super chat I got to read, but continue.
Yeah, I don't need everyone to do this. I don't need Nintendo or Sony to make a Game Pass. That's not what I'm here to say. Everyone doesn't need to do the same thing. Listen, if Sony just continues to advance the line on interactive narrative adventure storytelling,
Yeah.
that's fine. And if Nintendo
let them do it, yeah.
keeps giving Mario drugs and having him flip out and have
Hey! You
mushroom
haven't played it,
binges,
so you don't
right?
know what you're talking about. You
no,
know
which
what you're
hurts,
talking
what I'm
about.
which is hurting his sales on the first month, by the way.
What
Stop
I'm
it.
saying is I love the idea of each of the platform holders doing something completely different, right?
Yeah.
And so Nintendo doing what they do, and then Sony making the Spider-Man style games, and then Game Pass being available to lower the barrier of entry so you can have more creative endeavors, as well as the things like the Starfields and the Hellblades. I think that that's a very healthy industry, despite what all these people want to tell you. And that is a good thing. And so, no, I don't want Sony to run after Microsoft, and I don't want Microsoft to try to beat Nintendo. I want Microsoft to do what they're doing. I want Nintendo to keep being weird, and I want Sony to keep blowing us away with these interactive storytelling. And that is all great. So
Wolverine.
what I'm not
Well
doing, we don't have to talk down Game Pass just because the other guys are not doing it. That's the part that I'm pushing back on. Not that
XX Wolverine.
Summed up there.
XX Wolverine 3 XX with a $5 super chat. He says, for creativity in gaming to continue, Game Pass needs to succeed and be the forefront of gaming. I haven't gamed this much in my life since Game Pass. True statement, right? Most people understand that Game Pass equals value. Those that don't, or those that purport to fight you and say Game Pass is value destructive, when they say that, look in the background. I always say, whenever anybody goes, oh, that restaurant has good reviews, review the reviewers. Who's saying that to you? They might not know what they're talking about. Buck, $5 super chat. Everborn, they understand the benefits of Game Pass. That means it is a threat to Sony, which is why they hate. That's why they hate it, despite you speaking 100% facts, which is,
It's
AKA,
competition. Everyone does the corporate speak. Microsoft will do this on corporate speak.
Yeah.
We're not angling for this, but they want a bit of that. So when Phil Spencer says, we're not out consoling Nintendo and Sony, I'm pretty sure with the Xbox Series X, they squarely were attempting to out console Sony. So that's
when they say that, it doesn't mean they mean, oh, if we don't beat them, we'll be sad. Of course they're trying to beat them.
Let me say one thing. Last thing.
Go ahead. Yes.
Do not listen to anything any corporation tells you when $70 billion is on the line. Right?
That's true.
You had a year, almost 2 years of Microsoft saying we're the worst at video game making and we won't survive unless we do this. And then Sony pretending that none of their games matter and their whole business model rides on Call of Duty, all of which was false, right? But they needed to say what they needed to say to advance their objectives. So yes, Matt Booty right now is thinking of a way to destroy Sony, and that is good.
Hey,
Sony
put some respect on Peach's name. Put some respect on Peach's name.
Sony will be fine if they
put some Peaches in the chat,
what they are good at, and whatever happens with Call of Duty, Sony is still able to compete because they have a massive set of IPs and they're great at what they do. And Nintendo is going to laugh to the bank all the way. So again, forget about all the stuff you heard during the last 21 months. Now you'll see the real intentions. Because guess what? Guess what we just saw over the weekend? And I don't know if this is on your thing. You had the Xbox Globe Dome taking over Las Vegas.
They're
and
doing
then
the whole
Sony
commercial
following suit literally the next day.
Okay,
So
so,
you agree with me.
sure that was
So you agree with me
pre-planned.
for the spirit of competition, Nintendo has to buy Sega. Thank you.
oh God, get out of here with that
Confirmed.
madness.
We were
The
doing good. We were
madness.
doing great. We were doing
Okay,
great. man.
well, okay, ladies and gentlemen,
Gents, I
we're
have
getting
to
out of
go.
here. We're getting out of here
okay.
because I have a hard out. We need to leave. We need to get out. We've had enough.
Okay, so
Pause.
I'm going Tesla shopping today.
PSVR 2, baby.
PSVR 2.
Holding it up.
Look,
No
let me,
games.
let's
No, I'm
let
joking.
stop it. Let's get out of here with on one last story, one last note, and then I'll do the outros, and then we'll get out of here because I think we need to. It's about time.
And if you
It's
have
about
to
time.
go first, Gaz, go ahead before
Yes.
the story. It's up to you.
So the last story, which I find super interesting, that I kind of want to get y'all takes, and then I'll give you outros while you're doing it. People were trying to say that Larian's game Baldur's Gate 3 wasn't coming out this year in 2023 for Xbox. There's body language. This is what I've been hearing in the DMs. People have been sending me DMs. Body language that suggests that it'll be in Game Pass. And as recently, yes, look at the Phil interview. As recently as yesterday, you have the lead of Larian Studios still fighting the good fight, talking about, what was his quote? Before the end of the year is the plan. This has been the plan for a few times, but we have dudes with, quote, 33K followers keep talking shit for likes. That was
Ooh,
from
who has
the
33K?
Larian. I don't
Yes.
know. That's from
Not
the
me.
Larian Studios. That's from the Larian Studios head talking about this game still coming. So
Oh, he's in pocket.
Gaz?
And one of the Larian guys went over to Playground, right?
there you go. Gaz,
Larian's the next purchase.
while we give you this outro, before we hit you with the outro and the septic sauce and Game On Daily Live that you have to watch later today at 4 p.m. my time. What do you think, sir? Do we see it in Game Pass in 2023? Some people say yeah, because did you see how he talked about it? Phil did on the interview and all of that.
Phil's pretty easy to read. It was when Paris was interviewing him on Kind of Funny, where he exposed a lot of his real feelings as well. Like, you could see the real Phil. You could see like what his body language is about. And when he said, when was it you or one of your co-hosts, Paris, that asked like, will we know an answer about Starfield and the 60 FPS? And he goes,
It was Mike. Mike
It was
asked
Mike.
that.
It was
Mike
Mike.
asked that
Yeah, it was
one.
Mike.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he goes, yep. And I said it straight away. The way he said, yep, there's no way Starfield is 60. And it wasn't. And the way, if you see this interview, the way he talks about Game Pass and Baldur's Gate, to me, it seems like this is coming
Like it's
out
coming
on
to Game Pass. Okay.
It seems. I may be wrong, but
Well,
my
ladies
reading
and
of that
gentlemen,
suggests
Gaz, when will you have your show today, sir? We have to
in
tune
a few
in.
hours, which I need to charge my batteries for this ancient
Yeah,
camera. In a few hours, I've got Jess Corden and I've got Fratanga
Nice.
Plays, two very different people.
Excellent.
So it's gonna be. I love mixing people up. Just to see how the dynamic works. I can't wait for Jess. Jess is drinking copious amounts of alcohol right now. No joke. He's DMing me. He's publicly tweeted it. That means he's gonna leak something because that's what he always does. So
We here
Tune
on
in.
GCP love the court gesture that is Dave Chappelle hashtag Gaz septic sauce. So we here will continue to promote
Thank you so much.
the craziness that is Gaz and his channel and the whole Game On Daily staff. Appreciate
Thank you
y'all
so much,
you
man.
coming here, lending your R-rated hijinks to our show. Yes,
You guys
we
are not
appreciate
ready. You guys are not ready. This is a sneak preview right there. Bam. And that's all I'm going to show you about the new brand. Everything is going to be crazy. I've listened
Okay.
to Paris Lily.
You got
and I've
clothes.
decided I'm going to
Clothing line.
double down and become an absolute
Okay.
piece of shit. Can't wait to share that stuff with you guys. It's a massive,
Nah.
massive honor and pleasure. This is one of my most favorite podcasts. I had to reach out to you guys. Guys, let me in today.
Oh, bro,
but 'cause
anytime, brother.
I love being there. And
Appreciate
shout out
you
to
being
you,
here, man.
all of you. Shout out to chat. Shout out to Pixelbit G, all always damage control Xbox, and shout out to Paris Lily as well. Believe
Shout
it or
out
not,
to Dorian
I
Gray
do
in the
actually
chat.
like you. Huh?
Yes,
Huh?
sir.
Shout out to Dorian Gray in the chat.
Well,
Shout out
Gaz,
to Dorian's a G. Shout out
Gaz,
to Dorian.
you better come to LA next year.
I'm there. I'm there. I'm there. Just
Ask
brace
what we're
yourself.
still
Whip
waiting
your
for you.
ass.
I
Ask
saw
what
you
we're
do
still
those
waiting for
deadlifts.
you.
I thought, I can't do that much, but yeah.
Paris
Shout out to you
Lily,
guys. Thank you so much.
we understand you jump in the chat. We appreciate you always. He's like, yo, throw me the link, even though you know when you jump on here, sometimes you will be susceptible to some of that hashtag hooved hijinks. But you're still here. We appreciate you, sir. First off, let's talk about it real quick before we get your outro. What do you think? Do you think we see this game come on Game Pass? Because some people think that, this talk there. What do you think?
I was not thinking that until this very conversation at all. I guess I didn't read into what Phil was talking about. So I've been going back and forth on that. And I think at this late date, if it was coming to Game Pass, that is something they would be marketing the hell out of right now. I don't see, even Phil said don't expect any surprises the rest of the year. Didn't he say that? I'm pretty sure he said that.
Surprises related to ABK, but this would be a good consolation if they're not putting COD.
Here's what I'll say. I'm leaning towards no.
Okay.
But if there's a moment that they're going to do it, it'll be at the Brazil event in November.
Interesting. So it still can be in the works. Okay.
Yeah. I do not see them giving that to Keeley at the Game Awards. If they're going to do it, they're going to do it on their platform, on their time. That would be the announcement, because that would be a pretty big deal for them. But I'm going to lean towards no. I think we just get the game on Xbox, obviously. I think they'll obviously celebrate that and talk about it, but I don't think it'll be on Game Pass. No.
So just to add to that, I think also a part of it being successful, whether it is Game Pass or not, October is the worst month to announce anything right now, right? You would get drowned out by Mario and Spider-Man and Sonic, God damn it. You get drowned out by all of that right now. November, they're in charge of COD now. They need to make sure it does well. So November is COD month. December is the perfect month to do this if you do it.
I'm going to go back on something I just said. Not completely. I still don't think so. But here's what I think where I could see it happening. We have no idea how this thing is sold on PlayStation 5, correct?
Nope.
No, we do not.
We do not.
We really don't know how it's sold on PC either. They're not like...
They haven't shared. They haven't shared.
Exactly. That's a red flag. If it was having huge success, we'd know. They'd tell us. So with that being said, if it's not been selling as well as they've hoped, I forget who the publisher is, but if it's not selling as well as we hoped, maybe that's, hey, let's cut the deal with Microsoft and put it on Game Pass.
This is exactly what I said like weeks ago. I said, look, Larian, you know damn well that you are PC gamers. Day one, what will you be playing? You'll be playing Starfield like every other PC gamer. You know that there are certain places in your platform that you just will not be able to sustain. Xbox, you don't have a stronghold there, especially when they have Game Pass when they have Starfield on Game Pass. So by the time it gets to your turn to be in Game Pass, to be on Xbox, what is the thing that will help you stand out in front of in the crowd? Your game is award-winning potentially. Put it in Game Pass. It's the only place you will get any kind of monicum of, oh, this great game is now in Game Pass. It'll help Microsoft because, hey, their big game is now in Game Pass as well for your consumers. And it'll help you, Larian, because you get the Xbox bag, and it also maybe gives you more Game Pass effect to make more money down the line. Dropping that game into Xbox platform without Game Pass is suicide for them. I said this a long time ago. With Starfield as close as it was and looming large as it did, there's no way that you put Baldur's Gate 3 on Xbox without that Game Pass bag. You need it.
How about this? How about we get to the Game Awards, 100 million people watching, Baldur's Gate wins
Game of the Year, and then, oh, guess what? It's in Game Pass.
Boom.
Yes. Big money, marketing, and obviously Microsoft will do nothing but push that game because it's a Game of the Year candidate or winner at that point, right? But without Game Pass, that game is because why bother?
I completely disagree. Game Pass is detrimental to the games industry.
Of course.
I completely
disagree.
So, Mr. John Wolf, while you're here speaking, tell us, do you think we see it in Game Pass, sir? Or do you think this is one of those things where it just drops?
Yes, I think it's a no-brainer for it to be on Game Pass for everything that everybody has said, but I really like that idea from a marketing perspective for them to be able to come to the Game Awards and announce, hey, not only do we have one game for Game of the Year on Game Pass, we have 2 with Starfield.
Yep.
So imagine that. Imagine if they can relay that message in the Game Awards of saying they have 2 Game of the Year nominees on Game Pass. That would be huge for them.
Absolutely. Now, I see Wade Johnson saying no turn-based game has ever winning Game of the Year. Ooh, that is some words. I
Sea
hear
of Stars.
you. Yeah, there's Sea of Stars right there. Lots of people thinking Well, I think Sea of Stars will at least get an indie nod, if nothing else.
So going along the conspiracy Steve that we're doing right now, I didn't realize
we call
this
him
until the chat said this.
Tinfoil Koofies here, but continue.
Well, Paris, you used to call it Miss Cleo. You got to bring back Miss Cleo, man.
No, that's Danny stuff. That's not me. I like conspiracy Steve. That's mine. But the chat said this, and I didn't realize this. I didn't realize that it was self-published. So,
yeah, Larian self-published. Yeah.
Again, so that again leans more towards
the bag.
Hey, if Phil's been in there, they've been talking, and they've been working directly with him. Now I'm starting to lean more to your guys' side, maybe.
The Koofy's on. It is what it is. We got him.
Maybe so. Because I was thinking if like a 505 or an EA or someone like a publisher controlled it, maybe they wouldn't do it. But the fact that they're self-published, they can do what the hell they want. They're trying to make money.
That's right. That's right.
The bag.
See, this is what I'm saying. This is why, check the receipts, man. Months ago, when this whole thing happened and they were talking a lot of smack about, Series S and this and that, I'm like, you're going to see this happen. When it comes on Xbox, it will come under Game Pass because they need it. Go ahead, Paris.
I have a sneaking feeling it is not selling well on PlayStation 5.
It's not selling well anywhere except PC, where people know what the CRPG really is. That's why it's selling well there. Like anywhere else, you will not know what you're getting into. And it's a hard RPG, hardcore RPG. Yeah. It'll disappoint many people going in there thinking it's going to be, your Final Fantasy. No, it is even harder core than that in certain respects. So yeah, I agree with you.
Especially since
Grumpy
Final
Shaman,
not hardcore anymore.
Well, yeah, it's lost its hardest.
I love Final Fantasy. It's just not a hardcore RPG. Like we have to. These are the facts, people.
I will let Grumpy Shaman his super chat finish us off, and that is with a $2 super chat, and he says, so the Game Pass fairy should visit Larian Studios. I think that is agreed, sir, and I think that may be the case here. Yes. Mr. John Wolf, thank you for being here, sir. Beyond doing more shenanigans with me on Monday nights where we talk that PCMR goodness, where else can the people find you on X.com? I will warn you now, since Bing AI happened, this guy is just insufferable. Where can people find you, sir?
Yeah, Kay, thanks a lot. It was an honor to be here with Paris, Everborn, and yourself, and Gaz. Had a lot of fun, guys. Of course, having just discussions on gaming, and that's really what I love about coming to a space like this and being able just to just give opinions and thoughts. Because at the end of the day, like Paris has said so many times, they're just opinions, guys. So it doesn't mean that they're right or wrong. It's just what we think. Catch me on Xbox, Steam, PlayStation, across the board, John Wolf with an X and in the front of the name and in the back. And yeah, okay, we'll be back at it on Monday where we're going to be talking PC gaming again. But this time, you made me go down a rabbit hole, and that's with all these controllers, okay, in the third-party market. And I bought myself a bunch, and we're going to be covering those so that you can, if you're interested in a good controller, me and Kay got a lot of them. I think we own close to 100 controllers between the both of us, so we're going to be talking about that. Yeah, man, it's a lot. So if you're getting the premium experience on PC, how do you get that premium experience on your controller as well, guys? Tune in. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate you, man. And of course, the man, Paris Lily, thank you once again. Anytime, man. And by the way, this specific link is the link we use all the time, because we keep the same link and then we use OBS to broadcast to the people. So at any moment in time, you feel the need to, you can just jump in here and drop the boot on the neck of Sonic haters everywhere.
So can I let you in on something?
Please.
I originally was like, let me come in here, troll Everborn over Sonic, and then I'm out and I'm going to be on with my day. And here I am hours later. I'm still here. So now I
Mission
appreciate you
accomplished, ladies
having
and
me
gentlemen.
Yeah, yeah.
We appreciate you being here. You know, it's
Trolling
always great to have
Sonic
you.
is big business, you know.
on.
Big business. I don't think it's big business. It's a great pastime. That's what it is. It's a great pastime.
Oh, Everborn, you can appreciate this
Yes,
real quick
sir.
before we get out of here. You can
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
this. So my wife is in the market for getting a new car, right?
Oh,
You know,
excellent.
I got the Tesla. You know,
I'm going car shopping right now.
Which her idea, by the way, wasn't mine. It was her idea to get a Tesla, but somehow
Nice.
it became my car, and I
Nice.
love it, and I'm never going back.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm convincing my wife she needs to go electric, but she doesn't want a Tesla because she thinks it tracks her too much. She doesn't like it.
No. I'm telling you right now, Paris, please do not if you love her, do not let her get anything but a Tesla.
You preach it. You preach it to the choir at this point. I'm just saying though. I'm like, you can turn all this off. It doesn't. None of this has to be on. You don't have to worry about that. No, but it's just the fact that it could.
Okay,
She's
here's
convinced.
how you will disabuse her of this notion very quick. Rent one of those non-Tesla EVs and let her drive around.
Yeah.
and try
Well,
to
I'm with you.
Find her in an
time.
EV6. See what happens to her.
Yeah.
Just let her drive around and try to figure out how to charge the car.
Out of charge, yo.
The conversation.
He's basically saying, hit him with a Kia Sante. Hit him with a Kia Sante. It'll change her mind immediately.
This
You know,
sounds so familiar. My wife last year, she said, "No, I want an Android phone." So we get her an Android phone. Just the other day, she goes, "Oh, I want to go back to my iOS phone." I'm like, "Come on, man! You didn't even give it a chance."
You got to see that the grass may not be greener on the other side before you go. Before you stick with what you got. But
Yeah, some
you know
people
what?
want to be different just to be different. Some,
You know what? Everborn
sometimes the one
Saga.
at the top is there for a reason.
Everborn Saga. With that said, you have made your Elon bucks for the day. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Appreciate
Checks in
you.
the mail.
Go ahead and tell the people where they can find you. What else is going on when you are not peddling Elon bucks, Tesla to everybody, where they can find you? He's been on the phone with me all day going, "You better be buying a Tesla." Go ahead, sir.
It's not
you should be.
car shopping after this. Yeah, you should.
Don't let Elon dissuade you. Teslas are dope. I love my car.
Yeah, like Elon's an idiot and Tesla's are
Yes.
great. Okay,
Exactly.
so I'm everywhere, Everborn Saga. I will be playing Sonic this weekend and then flipping a coin and transitioning to Spider-Man or Mario. One thing I want to say before we get out of here, what an amazing year 2023 has been for 2D platformers. We got Metroid Dread at the beginning of the year, didn't we? Or was that this year? Or was that
was this year. Right?
No, Droid was
that was last year.
That was last year.
Okay, well, whatever. Point is, we
Next
recently
year,
got Metroid
Prince of
Dread.
Persia.
Prince of Persia's on the way. Sonic, Mario. We had this conversation. This is around the time when Paris first started jumping on this show, where we're talking about, can you have AAA 2D experiences? And I think that answer is yes for that genre. So I, as an old school gamer, came in the 16-bit era. Like, I am having the time of my life. Don't forget the Double Dragon game that did come out this year. Right?
Also amazing. Amazing. Like,
right?
Really
and we had Shredder's. We had Shredder's Revenge last year. It's just if that is your bag, if that's your era of gaming, it's a great time right now. It's coming back, and you love to see it. And that's on top of all of the other great games. So I'll be everywhere at Everborn Saga. Go to everbornsaga.com. We are working on Ariel's Adventure Chapter 2, coming as soon as we can with that one. So Kickstarter coming soon. And yeah, Everborn Saga, that's it. And don't be stupid. If you're going EV, go Tesla.
And more of them Elon bucks are just being chashed. Cha-ching! And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, have a great weekend. We hope you enjoy your gaming. I'm going car shopping. Hopefully it's for a good vehicle. We shall see. Or I'll be ridiculed for not buying Tesla. We shall see. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.
Nice to be in orbit.